Wall Street is now online, baby. That's right. Visit the GW District. Shop the very best in men's and women's apparel and accessories, home decor, office supplies, books, pantry items, and so much more. The GW District is a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media. We're both veteran and Black-owned, and we're bringing you the best online shopping experience with products made by small businesses. Come and experience the GW District difference today at shopgwdistrict.com. That's shopgwdistrict.com. The GW District, a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Hey, do you enjoy the pro wrestling punditry that we're giving you on Pilgrim on Wrestling? Well, guess what? You can get some extra pro wrestling punditry, as well as a deeper dive into pro wrestling. I'm talking about Pro Wrestling Smoke, a premium podcast on the premium smoke room on the lounge for $4.99 a month. One of 5 podcasts that you get to enjoy, and I'm talking about weekly. So subscribe to the premium smoke room and check out Pro Wrestling Smoke, where me and Billy, we gets it in, and we discuss and debate different topics from the prettiest and the best looking belt of all time to modern wrestling, the territory days, old school, what have you. He's the history, I'm the modern. So subscribe for $4.99 a month to the Premium Smoke Room and check out Pro Wrestling Smoke. Now, smoke that over.
But I never knew about the little things. Every single day, things get in my way. Someone has to pay for the little things. And I'm through with the scars and sick of my shoes and walking in the dark and it's got nothing to do with final solution. It's a box full of shit and I'm through with the gas when there's nothing to fix. When there's nothing to fix. When there's nothing to fix. And it all comes down to you.
Welcome to Pilgrim on Wrestling. Now time for the show. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on? Nothing. Just, it's been a busy day. And after the show, I have a pretty important phone call, which hopefully will lead to some more opportunity and everything. So, that's that.
And me, apartment hunting like madman.
What was that?
I'm apartment hunting like a madman.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the finding of the place because that bothers me. The actual packing and the moving never really bothered me.
Yeah,
I've had some horrific moving stories that I can tell you about off the show. So basic moving never bothered me. It's the finding of an apartment and the securing of, because basically the laws in this country for renters has gone so far in the other way that essentially you kind of have to be a millionaire to fucking, you got to have this ridiculous job and you got to have, all this money and basically give a firstborn for an apartment.
Yes,
and, and yeah, so.
Yeah, because they want you to have 3 times the rent and all that crap. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't. And then even if I did give you my information for my poem, motherfucker, you ain't going to accept it. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
kind
it's
of
just
like
again, if you have land, if you own a building, you're not broke. Like and it's like in New York City, it was an ever growing problem, and I'm actually amazed it did not completely blow up during the pandemic because the way this apartment situation is and what they and the stuff, it's like, again, it's too. I'm not saying give all the rights to the renters, but now it's gotten to the point where even people with good jobs have a hard time affording an apartment. And it's like, again, there has to be some kind of balance. And, and like I said, it's the old story that the people with the most money cry poverty the quickest. When the pandemic first hit, every company, cried that they were going to go out of business. Every poor person was like rushing to the head of the line to get those stimulus checks and everything else. And like, really, if you make six figures a year, and like if I start this year making six figures and it goes from now until 2027, 5 years, and then another pandemic hits, if I can't survive quarantine situation or have some kind of savings, then I'm an idiot, and I don't deserve to have nice things. It's like, if you're making six figures a year, you can still live comfortably and live below your means and stash money away. It's like, it's nobody's fault that if you supposedly have all this money, or you just don't want to, or you just don't want to spend any of it. So of course everybody, then it becomes socialism when rich people need it.
I'm saying, man, it is fucking damn ridiculous. And speaking about ridiculous, welcome to Pilgrim on Wrestling. I'm your host, Kavanaugh, the Southern Champ, here on the Premium Smoke Room. And let me introduce you to the main host, the man that serves dick to all black women, white women, Chinese women if he can find them. And he gives you the best rants, the best in history of wrestling and wrestling punditry. I'm talking about Bayley. Pilgrim.
Hello. I don't know. Like there's
I'm gonna get you off guard every time, though.
James Lowe did the same thing where he hyped me up so much, and it's like, yeah, I can't top that. Like he was building me up so much, I was almost like, he sounds great. Who is he? Yeah, so
you deserve the intro, baby boy. You deserve the intro because you were the main event. You were the main event.
I try. Like, again, I've been like, as we speak, I'm like triple tasking. I'm doing the show. I fortunately have Hell in the Cell in the background, and I'm on my computer in the process of doing some work. I basically like cleaned up my computer for the most part, and I'm trying to get everything onto my hard drive and open up space. And like I said, my platforms will be up soon. But it's like just a massive post-production. And again, it's my weak point, and, it's a whole so it's like, yeah. So it's
a lot because I'm in them days of transferring stuff to your hard drive. One time I had to transfer a hard drive to another hard drive. That took forever and everything. And people don't realize the hard part of porn is not the fucking on camera, not keeping your dick hard. It's the editing and the uploading. It's a pain in the ass because you sometimes just can't upload it as is. Even if the scene went straight through, you may have to convert it to make it smaller so it could load faster, or what have you,
Yeah, and also, again, I lived a life where I didn't sit behind a desk and deal with a computer, and I'm not really computer savvy, and there is a lot of the one thing that's a major change in technology is, I think the people now that design this shit want to show you how smart they are by making everything overly complicated. It used to be, oh, my headphone jack isn't working. Go to audio headphone jack, and it's like, oh, it's turned off, turned on. There you go, boom. But now it's like they send you. You can't call anybody, so they'll either have you on this like slow ass moving chat, or they send you this 50-page dissertation that you have to have on another device because you actually have to be able to read it while you're doing this whole thing. And, editing and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, with me, my problem was I was stockpiling content because I didn't have enough and my schedule wasn't steady enough and I didn't want to become inconsistent. And then I became consistent, and then I was faced with a different problem in that now I have a lot of this shit. But I would get into, because again, in Atlanta, I'm by myself, which is a bad thing, because I get in my own head about everything. And then, I re-edit something like 70 times, or I have my channels that take stuff down, and it's a whole thing.
Oh my God, you ain't one of them, bitch. Oh my God, once it's up, it's up. Once I edit it, I'm done, because I'm not about to go through it. And trust me, when I actually watch it, sometimes I see shit that I should have edited out. Like, for example, like when the cameraman, sometimes when he's moving and he catches everything, but he don't never keep it on you. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I forget to take that out. I don't even give a fuck after a while. I'm like, man, I'm about to go through all this shit. I got like 15 scenes I need to fucking.
Yeah, and like right now I'm looking at photos from a shoot, and luckily the guy who did the things, I don't really need to edit these photos, but like trying to figure out how to move them and mail them to myself so I can like put a couple on Twitter, because again, I have so much. I'm trying to, like I said, do all this crap, and when I get off the phone with you, I have so much shit to do, and hopefully this phone call. So yeah, it's kind of I just wish I had the money to just essentially bring everything to somebody, like 2 different editors, and go divide it up, and just whatever, and give it the fancy opening and the close and just whatever, and I'll come back and like give me a time and when I can come back and grab it all. But yeah, so
no, because see, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Me having a 9-to-5 fucked up a lot of shit, because part of the reason why I don't do trailers like I used to is that I just do the clips, because I just don't really have time to go through editing a trailer. You know what I'm saying? And people don't realize it's easy to do a clip. Clip ain't shit. 5, 30-second, 2-minute clip. You just taking just one piece of the ride. No, trailer. And I'm the dude that I have role play scenes at the beginning of them. I have skits at the beginning of my shit and might have something at the end. So I have to edit the beginning of it till you can get the gist of the skit. The actual scene itself, the highlights of it. And if there's a cute little twist to the end, I got to put the twist at the end. Yeah. And see, when I wasn't working a 9-to-5 and porn, which is completely my 9-to-5, I had time to do all that because I had nothing else to do during the day.
Yeah, no, I and that's the other thing. Like, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I would mind because while I'm a workaholic, working a dead end job with that people don't appreciate you, especially now that people are kind of going back to work. Like, it's actually gotten worse, the lack of appreciation for people that do these jobs. I can't really have a part-time job because I'm going to Tampa this month. Then I'm going to Miami and in July, and possibly I think Orlando, and apparently, like I said, everybody and their grandmother. I've been invited to 3 different shoot houses in Texas, of all fucking places, and the funny thing is, they're all asking me the same question, like, is this amount of money to ask people to pay, too much or whatever? I'm like, no, it's not, but in reality, you're asking them to basically fly to a foreign country, because Texas is so the fuck far out of the way for pretty much the entire country. That's one thing every state in the union has in common. It's out of the way. Texas is out of the way. And I was looking at airline tickets for the one that I know I'm going to, and it's goddamn ridiculous this many months out. So it's like, I can't go I mean, if I'm making really good money at the time, possibly, but like, you know, like again, flights to Texas and what have you, it's like getting there, you know, the airlines are going to fucking butcher people. So that's the thing you got to worry about. But yeah, I'm not as busy as I want to be, but I'm been busy enough that if I tried to get a day job, I would literally be, you know, like, oh, it's my first day and I'm already asking for time off. So I'm in a weird position in that I would like to have some money coming in to help fund things, but it's like, yeah, you know, I don't have the ability, you know, it's like, and hopefully if the next couple of months go really well, then I will be too busy to have a day job.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing. So
Yeah,
but look,
no, that's the goal. Like I never want to. I've worked my entire life. I would like never to have to go back to working a dead end job. That's kind of why I want to incorporate and eventually run my own company. Like, of course, like all male talents, I want to incorporate and create my own brand, and I'm going to be in all the videos. But eventually, I would like to build it up to where I'm just directing and producing. And then if ever it's time for me to step away from the camera, I have like a business to run, or at the very minimum, I've gotten better at camera and other things that I can find other jobs in the industry. Going back to, like I said, the restaurant industry is basically ruined. Like the restaurant industry I grew up in and been working in all my life is gone. And, you know, I really don't want to, you know, kind of go back to that. So
yeah, most definitely. So now, before we jump into any wrestling, and I have to ask you this, and I want to discuss this with you because at one point you was an actual stand-up comedian.
Yes.
Okay. I know you know about the Monique and D.L. Hughley, right?
The what?
Monique and D.L. Hughley, right?
I know of them, yes. I was actually...
So you don't know about what just recently happened?
No, I don't follow. I kind of like I've come to terms with my when I quit comedy, I was kind of bitter and over it, but I have kind of come to terms with it. But I don't really watch that much stand up anymore, and I don't really keep track of stand up.
Okay. Well, Monique took time out. Well, her and D.L. Hughley supposed to had a. I should have sent you the link to ask you about this. I thought I really thought you might have heard about it because then again well, no shit. I ain't even gonna. It ain't even got nothing to do with color out this motherfucker because it's been all over YouTube, all over the place, this and third. But basically, she did a complete 10-minute rant on her set talking shit about D.L. Hughley.
Oh, that's a mistake because that dude, you know, I mean,
okay.
Half his act is ripping on people in the audience.
Now, mind you, and I mean, she went in, she said DL stands for down low. His wife is sucking the dick of a coward. They just say she roasted him. Not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Or what happened. So DL, he waited till after the fact, because he was a straight professional. He did his set, even though he walked out and got booed. But he spoke to it, and basically he was saying, Monique had these beef with different people. Now it's his turn, and he was warned not to fuck with her, and now he done learned in the whole nine. So, of course, she responds. Basically, first saying, I don't know why you got mad, why you on your feelings. She was trying to say she wasn't being serious, but trust me, if you actually go and watch the Monique shit, so they've been going back and forth. And basically, both of them had a contract that stated that they were going to be headliners. But the more Monique has talked, it don't seem it's about the contract. right?
Yeah.
To the point she even brought up something and played a segment of an interview that DL did where basically as a father he failed his daughter. And she brought that up or what have you. And of course, she been hitting below the belt left and right, period. So for what I told you and you being your background in the comedy field or what have you, what do you think of that? What is your thoughts and
Well, comics definitely have they're very cliquey. They're very tribal, they're very cliquey. And to be honest with you, if they, like they don't like each other, they'll go in sometimes like feuds last years and get ugly. One of the things I like about porn is that, if you do a good job, like I did a good job when I auditioned for Blush, so therefore I got the job and, I'm going to work for them. Or I, made a good impression and had a good scene with this female talent. So then the female talent will now vouch for me and let people know that I'm somebody that you want to work with. And in comedy, it's like I said, it's very, again, it's more about who you know, and it's very kind of like you could be killing, but if you're not friends with the right people or whatever, it's so and Monique is famous for being, is famous for being just kind of a shitster and, like a troublemaker. She, like her speech when she won the Oscar, she had to, kind of say some shit, and she likes to, stir the pot. She likes to get in with people and start, start shit. And I like DL Hughley, and no one's really ever had an issue with him. I've never heard a bad word really be said about him. He's at a level where he might do clubs wherever he lives, or if he's in New York City. But mainly he's a touring theater guy. Like he'll go and do, a 10 show tour in the middle of America and make a small fortune. Like he's up there. He's been doing it so long. He's up there. So I think it's all, if there's an issue, it's all Monique, and it's all her doing and being a sister. Because like I said, it's all politics. It's all, that's the thing. I'm not good at politics. Like whether it was comedy or whatever, it's like, look, I come in, I do my thing, and then I go. And also I don't always want to hang out to the wee hours of the night. That's the other thing. You got to hang out a lot when you're a comic. And it's some, and the guys that I want to hang out with, it not somebody, it's like, well, I didn't really want to hang out with these people. I remember the last time, one of the last sets I did, I got into it. Well, one of the last set I killed, actually, I did, because like I said in the interview yesterday with James Lowe, I finally had found my voice.
Because I'm sorry, to me, I think you was probably a killer stand up, man. Just, you get what I'm saying? It just, to me, just off your rants. Because it's like, I know the fans and me, myself, I just be dying out there when you go on rant show. And they just funny. I'm like, it's gold. It's comedy. Like Jim Cornette, you know what I'm saying? His bits be funny as shit, yo. Straight up. So it's kind of like, to me, when you say you was a stand-up comedian, I said, man, he probably was a kick-ass for it.
Yeah, I mean, so I, what do you call it? So I actually did a really good job, and I basically was like, okay, now, and that's the thing, I lived in New York City, so I became basically a storyteller, and I had to go out. I didn't write jokey jokes, and if I did, they were like few and far between. So I needed to go out and like live a life. So it's like I'll be honest, I had a pocket full of cocaine. I was looking at my phone, and at the time I was kind of, you know, dating a lot and everything. And I essentially was, you know, I had people asking me what was up. And if I decided to do the gauntlet, I could have gotten laid like 4 times that night, you know, and everything. And I just, you know, and again, stories would have came from it. And you know, I did a good set, and the guys like who I never really care for is like, oh, you know, you gotta hang out, whatever. Like, nah, I got shit to do. And then he was. We'll talk about producers of comedy rooms one day because they're a very unique creature and a very like loathsome, disgusting creature. But I basically was kind of on my last legs, and I was really just getting into the idea more and more of doing porn. So I was like, all right, and I just went off on him, and I said, look, asshole, I don't want to sit here until 4 in the fucking morning drinking piss warm PBR, bitching and being misogynistic about women. I like women. They fuck me. I have no problem with them. And, you know, and it's like, and also, it's like, it's not like you're the fucking manager of the Comedy Cellar or the Stand. You know, you run this fucking room, and, you know, like last time I did well, it took you forever and a day to book me. Or when you book me, it's always on a fucking off day. So I never really get anything from it. So it's like, and I just left, and I just, you know, went off on him, and that was kind of one of the last sets I did. I can't remember the exact last set I did, but you know, I don't miss it, to be honest with you. You know, sometimes being on stage when you're killing and you're in that moment, it's a great feeling. But to be honest with you, I never felt the camaraderie. I never had that clique of comics. The friends that I have were comics, you know, they would do the thing where they would tell me I'm too funny, I shouldn't quit, or I should whatever, but they never backed me up, or they never vouched for me, or, you know, whatever. And I was never really in anybody's clique. And every time I would start to get some kind of headway, I would get fucked over by somebody. And also, just to be fair, a large part of it was I wasn't properly medicated at the time, and I again had anxiety, and I would get in my own head, and I did some self-sabotaging. But there was a couple times where I was really on a roll, and then some petty fuckwad would derail me on purpose. And so yeah, I don't honestly, I am interested, I will say I am interested one day when I return to, because a couple of people I know that I stayed in touch with know what I do now, and they follow me on Twitter and everything. I don't know if they have me on silent or what, but I wonder if when I run into them, and if ever I could get back to New York City, you know, it'll be interesting. Especially, I started out with some really big, famous comedians. Like, we're talking, they do Marvel movies, and they're like, you know, and I remember doing open mics with them and whatnot. So it'd be interesting one day to run into them, and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you know, I got like 3 Marvel movies to do over the next 5 years, this, that, the other thing, and this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I got this comedy hour special. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just in Vegas playing a plumber, you know, or a pizza man. And so, you know, it's that kind of thing. But yeah, I enjoy porn so much more, and I've had more success in the last year and a half doing porn than I did 11 years doing stand up. And it's like, I'm glad I you know, I didn't feel like I wasted it.
Same thing about music, because I gained more notoriety from fucking than I ever did rapping. And I had a lot of, and that was saying something, because I was very known throughout the Southeast, and that was in actual magazines. So it's kind of, trust me, I feel where you're coming from on that, buddy. So
yeah, I mean, I like, you know, like, just even before I started to really get my, you know, when I was just doing my own thing, you could Google me, my stage name, and you would get images, you know. And, you know, like I said, you know, Danica Denali, who's a great, wonderful talent, she is one of my biggest cheerleaders, and she's the reason why I'm on the radar of a lot of these sites that I'm trying to get on. And she's like always there. and and dropping my name to people. I never had that in stand up. I couldn't even there's really no recording of me doing stand up because I would ask people to hey, can you bring your camera, whatever, or could you record me, and they never would, or they would always conveniently forget. I remember one time it was my turn to do a set, and all my supposed friends, literally, the room was mostly comics. They all got up and chose at that moment, not even 2 minutes into my set, to go outside or have a cigarette and whatever. And I was just like, oh, all right, and I don't know. Yeah, I fell out of love with it. And ironically, when I quit and then and now, especially the more when it comes out that I do stand up, people are like, oh, you think you'll ever go back to it? I'm like, no, because I'm hopefully will be too busy doing this that I won't have time for it. But also, no one's going to give me what it would take. Basically, if if there was a club in Atlanta, it'd be like, all right, well, if you want me to do stand up, pick a day, give me a time slot. I'm going to show up 15 minutes before my time. I'm going to go up and do my time, and I might hang out afterwards, have a beer, and then I'm leaving. I'm not doing any politics. I'm not dealing with any fucking open micers or any kind of weird ego shit with other comics. You're not going to fuck with me on my time. If I show up and you said, 15 to 10 minutes or something at 10 o'clock, that's what I'm doing, and I'm leaving. And, no one's going to give that to me because I just refuse to deal with that kind of bullshit. It always just bored me, when even I haven't really experienced, but if I met another male talent that felt the need to posture or big time me or just, be weird around me. And it's like, dude, we're not in competition. We are totally two different types of talent that serves two different purposes. We're not in competition. And honestly, even if we were, I'm just focusing on what I'm doing. I'm not really interested in this weird schoolyard bullshit. It just doesn't interest me, and I just kind of, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk away now, and it really just doesn't interest me.
But shoot, well, now we're done caught up for the most part and everything. So with that being said, it's now time for that time.
Yes.
Pro wrestling smoke, the pro wrestling smoke of the show, people. And before we go into the Gordon Solie Comedy Hour, programming note, I'm going to have a podcaster that's going to be coming on with me and Billy. I'm going to talk more to Billy about it. This guy is out of Pittsburgh, and his handle is @BrayWyattFan42. I'm about to publish stuff soon as this thing finished doing what it do. No, actually, I can do it over here. Find it, whatever. I meant to tell him to add you to the wrestling. What is it? This messenger shit. I hit him up. Tell him his name is Austin Boyer 25. Period. So we're gonna bring him on. I checked out his show. I like it. He know his shit. See, because we're gonna bring people on. You gonna have to know your shit.
Yeah,
run with me.
James Lowe, knew his shit when I was talking to him yesterday on the show. Because when I was talking about Ron Simmons, he immediately pointed out what I was going for, and he said the kid's crying in the front row, and I'm like, yes, that is wrestling. That is, that's beauty. Yeah.
So speaking about what is wrestling, you know what time it is, people. It's time for that sultry velvet voice giving you those good words of knowledge. And I'm talking about the one and only, the legendary Hall of Famer, one of the greatest, if not the number one greatest commentator in all of pro wrestling. It's now time for the Gordon Solie Poetry Corner. Got it all.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Gordon Solie's Poetry Corner. Thank you again for joining me at the happiest of hours. And like the great philosopher Johnny Depp said, it's always a happy hour. And as we all have one thing in common, is that we exist. And we live our existence. So this is entitled Existence. There is a particular beauty in the process of aging. To look upon one who is gradually losing the fight for survival and see the chemical progress of death creeping over them. At the same time, you see the visage that is lined with all of the complicated business of living, the joy lines, the worry lines, the lines of dispensation, the lines of toil in nature, lines caused by preliminary fights that ultimately lead to the final fight that we can never win. You could look upon an old person and feel a potpourri of emotions for them. Hate, fear, pity, respect, gladness, and a deep, deep sympathy and love. A love that knows not itself. Just a love of a fellow being that has struggled so much longer than you and knows the battle is all but over, and yet hangs tenaciously to the precipice over the long, dark valley. Everyday life becomes just a little more dear, a little less adjusted to the idea of death. You suddenly discover there are so many things to do, so many things to say and see, and you have so much time to reflect upon. The universal waste of life and living, such a waste, and yet so human. And that's what we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are all but human, flawed, evolving, trying our best. So go forward this week. Enjoy your happy hour, because it's always happy hour. Be kinder to yourself and to everybody else. Kavanaugh?
Yes. And yes, we are back. I just love hearing that man's voice. Listening to him just bring back so many.
He's a very good poet. It is surprising that it was.
Yes, actually.
It was surprising that he never really got. But again, like a lot of things, if you're a wrestler and you're really good at something, you really don't. I mean, now it's a little different, but yeah, I could see like one of these independent poetry companies like Black Sparrow Press or something, putting out full-on poetry books of Gordon Solie, because
actually, they do behind. I mean, because he be saying, his shit is fucking actually good. He was a
very intelligent, accomplished man, but yeah, like he is a very good poet. So it's a kind of a shame because it's spread out through several books, and I'm lucky enough to have them, and I'm sure there were, well, at least I hope there are more that maybe have not been published. I know his daughter is kind of out there holding up his legacy. I remember that's how I found out about the one book that I have is Something Left Behind. Somebody was interviewing his daughter, and she was talking about it. So I mean, he really was like a Renaissance man for his time.
So yes, he was. So before we get into the pay-per-view stuff, I have to talk about my Across the Pond, because I love English wrestling.
Yeah, I tried. It's frustrating in this day and age. Like I looked a bunch of places that you can't find, and just to interrupt for 1 second, I was watching a video this morning where they were making fun of DVD players and everything, and it's like, look, the irony is that we have all this social media and all this access to everything, but there's a lot of stuff you can't get or for whatever stupid reason, you have to wait a month to watch something, and you can't go on YouTube. There's certain movies you can't watch. I still have a Blu-ray player, and I will always have a Blu-ray player because there are certain movies you can't get. I just bought Dawn of the Dead, which you can't get because there's a whole convoluted story behind that, and I bought Mario Van Peebles' movie that he made about the making of his dad's famous movie, Sweetback's Badass Song, which, again, it's a really good movie. He never got the credit. He directed it and starred in it, and you can't get that movie unless it's on DVD. And there's a whole bunch of other shit. So it was frustrating because you got me all into the idea of checking out this match and everything and whatnot, and you couldn't even find proper clips. I don't know.
Nah, that really is, and that was so crazy about because even the visuals of the storyline I'm talking about, and so people can understand what I'm talking about. I've been raving about the booking of England over there across the pond, especially when it comes to this Lever Leaves Town match on Progress between Spike Trivet, the LG, that what they say, Spike Trivet, LG, versus Car Noir. Now this has been a hot feud. Actually, the heat, I dare say, to the level of, I say, I give it that Magnum TA Telly Blanchard heat. I give it that. That's how hot the heat is. And the biggest question was who was going to win and lose this match. Now, Car Noir is the hottest thing over there in Europe. So it wouldn't surprise me he ends up on AXT UK. And Trivet is probably one of the best talkers. Very good, great wrestler. Let's make that clear. And he's a great villain. I hope he never changes. He's one of the best villains he's better than MJF. To what the true sense of what a villain supposed to be. You feel what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I hinted to this on the Premium Smoke Room, but the match was brutal for what I seen. So Spike Trivet was able to chain this dude by his throat to the top rope with a lock, right? And he wails on him with the chair. Man, I can see this match was off the hook. And you can see the heat from some of the videos and clips that I saw on IG. So at some point, he grabs the mic. Your boy, Car Noir, said, never. He says he won't say it. He won't say it. He won't say it. You feel me? So finally, Spike Trivet goes over. He sees his wife. Now, remember I told you they set this up because the wife was at the previous match. He grabs her, throws it down on, I think, a table or on the ramp. And he has a chair. And he's about to smash her fucking head in. By this time, they were able, just in time, right? No, just at the same time, they was able to free Car Noir. He turns around, he looks. And he's about to nail his wife. And Car Noir, who never said shit, said, "You win, I quit." And then I saw the ending part. Man, motherfucker was crying in that bitch. Tears. And they would chant, "You still our champ. You still our champ." I said, oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's, to me, that's what I mean by that booking. That's why in ICW, they're good. That's why I tell anybody on Peacock, look at ICW, watch WXW, which is the German wrestling, because it gives you straight wrestling. Now, if you just you don't give a fuck about storylines for so much, actually, if you give a fuck about storylines that make sense, like even to the point of this, like this week on ICW, there's a beef between these dudes named Aaron Echo and Sweeney. And these are two big motherfuckers, right? He goes to Mark Dallas and said, "Where's Aaron Echoes?" The owner. He talking to the owner, Mark Dallas. And he tells him, I don't know where he's at. I think he's probably over there by the soccer field or something. He was like, I want him. I'm going to go get him. He said, don't. He said, you want a show? I'm going to give you a show. So throughout the show, you see him driving to go see dude, right? He gets there. Aaron Eccles sitting there drinking a beer. Unbuttoning his shirt. And Sweeney told him, like, I'm here to beat your ass. He takes the thing off and he takes his shirt off and he throws it in his face and they fight or what have you, right? Even to the point they finally fight outside. And I'm gonna tell you, this is where American would have been different. He initially dragged the dude to be out in front of the balcony to where he has to hold on. So it ain't that he about to throw him off. He drags him over there and pulls him as he's punching him. You get what I'm saying? In America, how you think that spot would have went?
No, it would have been just
Yeah. So finally, like it makes sense, he kicks him off. And then he grabs his big beer can and throws it down. They don't show him hit him. So he about to go down there with, I think, what was it? A stick. No. He cracked a bottle. He was about to stab dude the whole nine. Sweeney down there, he's busted over on the side of his head. You feel me?
Yeah.
The way he landed, the way he was turned, if he got hit by it, he got busted, makes sense. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it was his little protege, Levi, that told him to leave him alone. And Eccles walked away. You know what I'm saying? And the fight scene went through all the way to the back, but it was Eccles that was leading the fight. You feel where I'm coming from? It's just a little subtleties that they do with their bookings over there that we don't do over here.
Well, that's the thing. And you know, to your point, you know, Twitter has been going nuts. Everybody's crying that the summer is ruined because either top guys are injured or they are in disputes with, you know, Vince and Tony and etc. And it's like, well, here's the thing. Summer is not ruined. It's up to everybody that, you know, thinks they should be a star. Well, now it's your time to take, you know, now it's your time to seize the day and try to fill that spot. But also MJF is, you know, I don't think I remember him being injured. And this is a guy who gets the most reaction, gets, you know, the most out of a crowd with doing less. And it's like, maybe instead of the summer being ruined because all the top guys are injured, maybe this is more of a sign of, instead of doing 10 flips or high spots, maybe you do 5 to 3 and then use some psychology. So that way, when you do the, you know, over the top stuff, it actually means more, but also, you know, it's less wear and tear on your body. Like, you know, all these different maneuvers, like, you know, the dropping people on that very edge of the apron, which I've been told is the hardest part of the apron. And, you know, doing these things on the steps and whatnot. And it's like, look, it doesn't mean as much anymore because it's happening all the time. MJF is a standout and a moneymaker because he got the promo and he does wrestling moves. Everything has a reason, and it's a difficulty of 5 with an execution of 10. And it's like, you know, these guys aren't working as much as wrestlers in the past. So the fact that they're getting so easily injured is because you're doing all this shit that it's like, that's not necessary. And there's no, and maybe more psychology and a better promo to move things along and less of this high risk, you know, shit.
Yeah.
You know, that maybe that's the final, because here's the thing. And I will say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, growing up in the 80s and even up until the mid 90s, I don't remember wrestlers getting injured all that often and like disappearing off TV.
Well, because they won't doing those athletic moves. I mean, it, like we always talk about, and people get mad when we say that, but it's like what Nick Bockwinkel said. I would never come off the top rope. For what? Why? What's the point? You know what I'm saying? Because it's also longevity in the game. That's why Terry Funk was able to last the way he lasted. Even to the sense that people sit there might be a little scared about Rick having his last match, but let's be realistic. The match that Rick probably going to have, he probably ain't going to get hurt for so much or be so sore. Because they don't take the risk. Even when I look at Jerry the King Lawler, he took some bumps, but he knew how to take them.
Yeah, and he's 70, and he's still, he wrestles. I don't know if he's doing it every weekend, but there was a long time where he was doing it every weekend, and he doesn't really take bumps. As a matter of fact, I remember it should still be on YouTube. It was a pile driver match with Kevin Owens before he went to the WWE, and it was not a bar. It was a good match, and it didn't last that long. And of course, Jerry went over because Dean knows how to do business, but it was Jerry just knew how to work. And if you watch Lawler in the 70s and the 80s and then progressing into the 90s, his style slowly changed, but he this is a guy who's in his 70s and died twice, and he can still go out and have a 10-15 minute match and actually I think keep pace with a lot of young wrestlers. He's not going to do all this extra ridiculous shit, but as far as being in the ring and going and telling a story and selling and even putting a guy over, you're talking about a 70-year-old man that can go out there and without having you do all your ridiculous over the top shit, can get you over and basically put you over, and it still means something to be Jerry Lawler. That is psychology. That is knowing how to tell a story. And again, I like a lot of modern wrestlers, but again, it's all this over the top, diving from high places, going through tables, whatever, yada yada yada. It's like everybody's doing it, so it's not unique or special. And I think it's actually the funny thing that I laugh at is I think now it's gotten to the point where I think it's safer to take a chair shot to the head than doing
half the shit you're doing now.
Because you can control, if you have somebody who knows how to swing the chair properly and you know how to take it the right way, taking a headshot with a chair, you can, there's a way of doing it. If you watch, like some old school, I would rather take a headshot with the chair where the guy knows how to swing it than do half of the stuff they're doing. It just, and like I said, Darby Allin, big fan of Darby Allin. I think Darby Allin's got big money. Like, he's the Rey Mysterio of this generation. But how long is his career going to be with the way he does things?
After a while, yeah.
Same thing with Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy's actually on the injured list. Adam Cole, all these over the top shit, and that's why MJF stands out. That's why Wardlow stands out. He works like a big man, and he could do all the Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin and shit, but he's goes out there and he does kicks punches, whatever, and then the power bomb, and he just knows how to he knows how to maintain that presence that it's like, I'm gonna do 10 power bombs and you guys are going to love it. Anybody else tries that, it'd be like, motherfucker, like, what are you doing? So, and again, not shitting on the current wrestlers. These guys have the talent. They have the brains and they have the talent and they have the creativity. A little less reliance on just because you can do all this over, like, you could do 10 flips without actually landing on your hands. Maybe do one or two of those and then use your brain to kind of, dress it up. That's the thing. It's like, you guys have all the tools, just do it, and the fans can be trained. The fans will eventually condition to it. Like, again, MJF, people love and hate the guy because he's doing his own thing, and everything he said in that interview, I just kept looking up the person I was watching it with going, this is, I don't know what he cleared with people in the back, but he is, I mean, he called it All Friends Wrestling, and like this is making Punk's pipe bomb look like a firecracker. Like this is, he's going in deep, and he is right on every single thing he is saying, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. So now for anyone who want to hear the AEW talk, you got to go subscribe because we really tapped into that shit. So we're here to discuss these pay-per-views. So with that being said, we're going to begin with, of course, what went down Saturday, which was the NXT in your house. I don't know how you want to begin this pay-per-view. Did you get it? Did you happen to watch?
No. I was like, again, I can't stomach two things back to back, and I saw a clip. It wasn't part.
I'm sorry. If I have to go through torture, you have to go through torture too, buddy.
Hey,
I can't be the only one that gets thrown in the fire.
You're the one that wants to cover the WWE. I would love to be the podcast where our shtick is we're two porn stars and we don't talk about the WWE, but you're the one that wants to like this prolapse elephant anus of an organization. I saw the chick with the pajamas do like a Betty Time dive into a table, and I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. It's just the NXT. It's so bad that I like I said, I meant to kind of peruse it, but like I said, it's been a busy weekend with all getting my stuff organized.
Okay, I'll say this much I did watch. It was good. It had its good points. It was NXT. It has good points, bad points. Like last night, the Hell in the Cell, some of these matches could have left off.
Like all of them.
No, I'm gonna be real with you. The Carmelo Hayes and the Cameron Grimes was good. And I have to say that the women's tag match was pretty good. I didn't get to see, because I forgot NXT had a pay-per-view at the time, or I was doing something, but I didn't get to see the first match, which I'm kind of glad because it was Tony Angelo and his Goombas. They defeated Legado del Fantasma, and now the two guys from Legado del Fantasma, I think, work for Tony D'Angelo. Hello?
No,
we just go skip past that part. I'm glad that was the first match. I would have been mad if I had to catch that match. I don't even want to go back and watch it because it might have been a good match, but just because the stipulation and I told you how I feel about Tony D'Angelo. I don't see why y'all like this motherfucker. He's nothing. Okay, let's move on. Toxic Attraction versus Catherine Chase and Kaden Carter. That was a good match. What have you? I ain't gonna front. I haven't seen too many bad matches from Toxic Attraction to a certain extent, but that's because these two females are very experienced, talented. They're not green. Got no Priscilla Kelly, the one in the orange hair. She's good to go, or what have you. And then, like I told you before, Carmelo Hayes, he defeated Cameron Grimes. That to me was the best match tonight. He won by, of course, hijinks, bullshit, with the help of Trick. And then Mandy Rose versus Wendy Chu. Now, all intents and purposes, it was actually a good match. But, okay, first of all, the entrance, Wendy Chu, they did a dream sequence. Like, she dreamed and dreamt that she won the women's title, right? The camera appears. She's not in the onesie. She's in a one-piece jogging suit. And she sleeps. And she wakes up. Now, imagine Mandy dominated the match for majority of the match. She put it on. You know what I'm saying? But look, Wendy Chu, I think she's one of the finest women on the roster. I think she's probably a damn good wrestler, probably so. But out of all the women that you have on that damn roster, you telling me that she gets the title shot? You could have ran back. What's the tall one they was dating? What's her name? God damn it, they were dating Dexter.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
You could have ran that back.
It's so bad. Like a dream sequence I'm glad I missed it. I'm glad.
I was like, I thought it was just like you know, like a video package because they did one with Mandy. Not till I saw she was holding the title belt like she won it.
We went from I was there when Bayley beat Sasha in Brooklyn. We went from that like a female Flair Steamboat like rivalry and match to a blonde who is actually working the gimmick very well. But her big gimmick now is that she has dark hair, and her opponent is an Asian stereotype that has narcolepsy. Now, if anybody's finisher should be the go to sleep, it's her. Like again, they're not even like it's not even clever. Like whoever wrote this, you save your money because I don't think anybody would ever hire you to write. I wouldn't hire WWE writers to write my suicide note.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's get through this.
Fucking dream sequence. Now, you know what my dream sequence is? That I wake up and none of this shit, like they didn't just basically bring NXT down to the boiler room and, played Uncle Touchy.
Oh, man. I was like, it was a good match, but I couldn't unsee the dream sequence. It's just, okay, the next match was the tag titles match, right? The Creed brothers finally won the tag titles against Perry Deadly. Good match. I'm looking forward to see what the Creed brothers do as tag champs. And of course, not surprised that was a good match. Joe Gacy versus Braun Breaker. Of course, Braun Breaker won. But on the whole, it was forgettable. That what it was.
I mean, it's just amazing that how much of a blatant 180 that they did on NXT. I mean, it is just astonishing the people they've let go, the wrestlers they either fired or moved up to the roster and everything else. And it's universally, unless you're a die-in-the-wool WWE fan, which we talked about, where I don't consider them wrestling fans, they're WWE fans. It's universally panned across the board. Like, people who can't agree on anything in the wrestling community will agree that NXT like kind of sucks now. And it's like bad 80s WWE, like not even good, because 80s WWE had its moments, but this is like bad. and I would just like to meet the people who are actually calling the shots and bringing these ideas to the table and everything. And I want to sit them down on the table and go, okay, as somebody who's been creative in various areas of performance and whatnot, and has been a writer most of his life, explain to me why any of this is a good idea. Like, make me understand why. I mean, how? Like, just tell me. It's like I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, it's
it is. I have no words for NXT because, like I said, I mean they have their high points, they have their low points, and then it's kind of even when I was watching the matches, I just couldn't get into them. Like the Hell in a Cell, we about to speak to next. I got into that a little bit more than that of. It's like, put it this way, it's bad that Progress Wrestling, which they consider the not as big as WWE. NXT supposed to be bigger than them. Actually, NXT plucked them. I'm more into their 2-hour show than NXT. Like, I sit here and remember shit from ICW and Progress. I couldn't tell you shit from the pay-per-view so much. And I was watching
I don't. I mean, like I said, when I try to actually make some kind of reason or sense, my brain just will not compute.
It hurts.
You ever see, actually, this actually just popped into my head, and it's kind of a far reach for an example, but go with me on this. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie AI. It was like a bad TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so like the kid at one point is eating. He's a robot, but he's trying to eat, and so he, his face starts to melt, and it's like spinach is falling out of his mouth, and honestly, that's kind of what happens to my brain. When I think about WWE creative and what they do, it's like my brain starts. I have palsy or something. Like, it's slowly. I just can't. My brain just will not allow it. I'll have a stroke if I try to make sense of it.
Anyway, so before we go into the pay-per-view, I just want to tell people to check out Deadlock Pro Wrestling. You can find it on YouTube. It is very, very, very good. Great match, main event with Bojack, who is the champion, against who actually was his friend, his homeboy. Damn, what the fuck? I had on the tip of my tongue what his name was. God dang it. I had to look it up again. Hold on, let me look. I got to look on YouTube. But yeah, that main event was a good match. And David Richards was on this episode. That match was barn burner. With the guy who was the tag partner of Gotch, Violence Forever. Japanese looking dude, or he's from Hawaii. But yeah, Deadlock Pro, y'all need to check that out on YouTube. I'm gonna always shout out a wrestling promotion that I've seen on YouTube, of a show that y'all might want to check out and enjoy, because I love wrestling and I want to give wrestling to people. So now let's get to this pay-per-view on the sale. And I'm gonna start at the top, like I am reading here on cnet.com, that where I'm getting the results from. Cody versus Seth. I'm sorry, that was the match of the night. I de-highlighted the night. Seth and Cody put on a barn burner. And what I liked about this Hell in a Cell, they did something that you don't I have not seen in all the years of the Hell in the Cell. And guess what that was, Billy?
What?
They kept it in the goddamn cell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
that's simple. They kept it in the cell.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's Cody, when I think forced to stay within the lines, he's a really solid wrestler and, has enough old school in him. I don't know, man. When he was in AEW, I think he kind of lost the narrative and got obsessed with trying to show everybody
See, I think when
he
come to the WWE, now you're trying to tell Seth Rollins something, and Seth Rollins had a bigger name than you for a minute. Yeah. You get what I'm coming from? So it's kind of like he's no longer BP where he has power and to where he can sway over, because it's a difference between if me and you're talking and we're talent versus I'm talking to you and you run the company. So I might let some things slide on a tidbit because I know you the boss versus we on equal footing. So I think that helped out a lot with the booking with him too also.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, like the 87 people coming out with the entrance, his wife, and again, trying to, like wrestle, but also go off and do all these things. I still think his AEW run was a wasted opportunity, but I think again, he's creative, but you got to keep him within a certain line because he'll just kind of go off. And the thing is, he is a great wrestler. I hope the WWE doesn't squander him, but you're not your dad. Your dad was something else entirely, just like Dustin was something else entirely, and you are something entirely different from both of them. So just be the American Nightmare and don't worry so much about, your dad, because that's kind of a thing that haunted Dustin's career for a very long time was I'm the son of Dusty Rhodes.
I think what he using it for is one, because Dustin's still alive, so now you have Dustin that is gone. And he's speaking upon the legacy. Really, Dustin never spoke on the legacy or used the legacy as like a motivation, because who couldn't relate to, I had a great dad, I want to live up to where he was. So they're playing off of that anyway. So, I mean, and it fits him more so than Dustin, because we saw Dustin with Dustin. We never really, we didn't see Cody with Dusty till Dustin was over. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I gotta put this. To me, Dustin he's more athletic than Cody. But Cody got his dad's psychology. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
By the way he works, period. So, but I have to give Rollins credit. Rollins is funny with the polka dots, though.
I did see that. I
died out laughing. I said, no, this motherfucker did just come out.
Now, ironically, one thing I did kind of catch, I saw on Twitter, and I was like, well, this is kind of how you would describe the WWE product in a nutshell, in that the big news was Rhea Ripley's outfit. And apparently, I could be wrong, but apparently, I guess her gear got lost by the airport, so she had to come out, and I'm assuming what was ever in her suitcase, because she's never come out bare legged. She takes different pics on Twitter, but she's never come out bare legged, and she looks like. I loved
it. She need to do it more.
And honestly, she looks like she's like I was joking with somebody. I was like, she looked like she was going to work with me. It's like I'm going in already dressed, so it looked like she was going to set in a good way. That's a compliment, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. No, it was crazy because like you so used to seeing her with that black outfit, and then she came out, she had the purple, and I saw. Wait a second, I said she ain't got no. She's showing legs. I was like, oh my god, she is gothic Laura Croft, goddamn it. All she needed 2 guns on the side.
Yeah, no, she looked
I
great.
liked it.
I mean, but I don't know.
But what, it was negative or positive?
I mean, I think it was for a one-time thing. It was positive. I think she should stick with the gear that she's got.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about the reaction everybody was talking about.
The reaction, I think a lot of people, it's probably positive because, and again, it wasn't her fault. She had her gear got lost. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. And, you know, I don't think she should wear gear like that because, like I said, she looked like she's coming to work with us. And, and everybody, and again, if I could pick, she actually beat it. I mean, it's a tie between Naomi and Ripley. If I had to pick one WWE star, like you get to film a scene, she's going to do a one-time thing if she requested you. It's a tight race between Rhea, and she's already being hypersexualized on Twitter and everything with the way she does the pin, and she knows what she's doing and everything, and she kind of embraces it on Twitter, but it's like you're too badass of a wrestler to go that deep. Like, stick with the gear. You're hot as fuck with the gear. Like, going like this, I think would just, I don't know. I think it would just be a little too much of a distraction. And I think it would just, I think I would just stay with the gear. I mean, she's going to be a success regardless of what she wears. But, I would like, I like her old gear.
I didn't even know that was that happened to her, what have you. But watch what ends up happening. They're gonna end up figuring out some way. Because if it was positive reaction, Vince, Vince, something, Ripley, Rhea, come in. You had a great reaction showing them sex relations, special intent. So tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
she's gonna get your outfit and show those legs. It's good shit.
Yeah. Vinny. Oh, Vinny, you're a horse's ass.
You know he was looking at that shit. So, but back to the match. We'll get to their match in a minute. Like I said, I like that he stayed in the ring. And it was like a match that a person that enjoys professional wrestling will enjoy. It made sense. They never came out the cage. They never climbed the cage. I didn't even see too much high flying in this match, if you want to be honest. Period. Of course, Seth, he fucked with the bicep tear, which was high. And by the way, with the polka dots, I like the look. Just little subtle things. The look that he gave Seth when he just really paid attention to what he had on. You were like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, again, Cody knows what he's doing. And, it kind of sucks that he had the injury because that actually, we were talking about AEW on the other show and their whole issue with what are they going to do now with their title situation? And it's like, Cody clearly was on the path to possibly winning the title because Roman's going to be kind of a part-timer. It's like, all right, well, now Cody's on the shelf for who knows how long, and he just got there. So now both companies, it's like, all right, well, you got one guy, your future champion injured, and your other guy, all your top talent is all injured. And again, this is a wake-up call for AEW and WWE. Like, you guys need to create stars and book people. And again, I get you got to cool people off, but you got to book people like there's something. Because now, what are you going to do? What do you got?
But see, with this injury here, though, it actually made the match even more. Because when he took the jacket off, I was like, oh, God dang. You know what I'm saying? So, and Rollins using the kendo stick he's not just hitting it with it, he's digging it in his thing, what have you. And into the ending of how Cody won. it fit ending. He grabbed the sledgehammer and knocked the shit out of your boy. So, but this is what I really love. He pulled out the bull rope. Now, some people might say that's a hat on the hat. No, I kind of like that because it's you. One, how have we ever seen a bull rope match of any kind in the fucking WWE recent history?
Not really at all, because, and also they don't really do. Again, like they have an Extreme Rules pay-per-view where no one could bleed. So I mean, WWE, at least AEW.
Oh, I remember Cody probably was trying to give like, look, you sure you don't want me to juice? You sure you don't want me to juice?
Well, I mean, the thing is, you kind of have to pull a Bret Hart where, you make it look like a hard way, or just do it the hard way. Apparently, Harley Race.
Even though we did have a hard way earlier in the night, but go ahead.
Harley Race had in Mick Foley's first book, had a real knack for taking his knuckle and bringing it down on the eyebrow of a wrestler to bust him open, and like almost to the point where it was like. In the book, Mick was talking about how he got hard way anyway, and he rolled out, and basically he was supposed to, at the feet of Harley was supposed to grab him, do it for him, and Race was like, God damn it, it's already done, and threw him back in the ring. So you either have to know how to hard way, or like again, Bret Hart was like the Houdini of because other wrestlers would get in trouble, and Bret did it several times and managed to find and in trouble.
Let me ask you this: if there was juice between the two of them, would it make the match better than what it was? Even though the match was great, but do you think do you think juice would have helped or hurt?
I think it would have helped because, again, it's a cage match, and juice for the sake of juice, no, it doesn't help anything. But when you're having this big brawl, when you're having and again, it's supposed to be an extreme whatever, and given all the crazy shit everybody does with the ladders and the chairs and the tables and and like literally there's Home Depot under the fucking ring. I'm amazed more people don't bleed. It actually makes it look faker. So in the cage, like a little bit of juice, at least on one, if not both, I think, it makes a match. Same thing, like with the dog collar match between MJF and Punk. It made the match. It adds to the emotion, again, if you know how to work it.
And the viciousness, because of a match, when you think of a cage match, they want to hurt each other, bust each other open, all that shit. So to me, it does make to it, but it's WWE. So let's move on from the cage. And let's go to, this is going to be a theme, people. Forgettable, that what it was. Theory retains the U.S. Championship. Forgettable.
Yeah, again, here's a kid, $1 million, and they are just rushing to fuck him up,
No, they got two good ones. You got him and Mustafa Ali, and one you already. I don't even want to discuss how they've been doing Mustafa Ali, but why even have this match on the pay-per-view? I don't understand this. I would have took New Day and Drew McIntyre. I would have took Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. You know what I'm saying? You could have did that. Cause then Sheamus kicked the hell out of Drew McIntyre. Don't you think? I would have took it. I don't know what to say about this match other than they shouldn't have put it on here. It was a SmackDown match, actually. Did Mustafa even get into offense?
I don't know. I kind of skipped through the match, to be honest with you, because Ali.
I watched it, but didn't watch it.
They made me lose interest in Theory, and also their titles. Again, titles used to really stand for something and mean something, and a lot of times, at least not in the two major companies, they really don't mean anything. Like, in the day, you wanted to be the Intercontinental Champion. Like, in the day, that was the shit. At times, more so than the world title. And now it's like, same thing with the U.S. title. With Mustafa, it's interesting because if you complain and you say, "Hey, I just want to go home. This sucks," then all of a sudden they start using you, and it's a weird thing because all I can think about is this guy doesn't want to be here, and you're determined not to let him go. But clearly, from the
You don't want him there.
From the push, quote unquote,
you don't want him there. You just holding him just to be mean.
But yeah,
because he wasn't. I mean, honestly, okay. If I'm mistaken, did he get one pinfall win heading into this match?
No, I saw a little bit on the Brawl. Like,
I think the one match that was considered a win was a disqualification that Theory had.
I don't. Again, it's weird, their logic. I know what they think they're doing. But again, it's like same thing like blood. Like if you're gonna have blood in a match, it's supposed to have a meaning, and there's like a drama to it. It's all about the execution. So I don't get, like again, I get what they're trying to do, but I think they're failing miserably, and it's weird because it's like, okay, you never really used the guy at all. So like you're holding on to him for what reason? Because he wants to leave. I don't know if it's because of Jeff Hardy and the the Australian wrestler that basically just went home, like literally just said fuck this and went home to Australia. Tony Storm. I don't know, but at the same time they're letting key people go, like, oh, you just started the big angle and you're fired. And yeah, it's like I don't understand. I'm like, Roderick Strong is the only one I don't feel bad for, and I love Roderick Strong, but like, dude, they were firing all your friends or letting all your friends go, and you decided, and your girlfriend wrestles for AEW, you decided to stay, and then not even 6 months later you want to, I want to out of my contract. Like, dude, I'd be like, no, you could sit in purgatory. Like, you made your bed, you can lie in it. I mean, what you think they were going to do? Finally put the world title on you or make you like a world beater?
Because I was just like, damn, they sent him over to Europe to go against Ilya Dragunov. But Ilya Dragunov to go over on him. I'm like,
well,
damn.
I mean, Dragunov should lose the title anytime soon. But if honestly, if Roderick's lucky, they'll just keep him on the NXT brand because one, you get to live in England, but also that brand is one of the few watchable, tolerable brands. Yeah. But again, dude, they let Kyle go, they let Bobby Fish go, they let Adam Cole, the bigger star of all of you, just go. And what did you think they were going to do when you re-signed? And again, if I had Roderick on my roster, he would be at some point my secondary champion. He'd be my world champion. He'd always be in the mix as a heel. But it's WWE. Did you really think they were going to give you like main event money or if they didn't put the belt on you by now, they were never going to. Like, I really like Kyle. Like, I thought that was his turn, and they just let him go. Johnny Gargano, like they just so yeah, you're stuck. And I love Roderick. I would like to see him wrestle somewhere else, but at the same time, dude, you were dumb enough to re-sign.
And man, speaking about dumb enough, the next match, I didn't even see. I actually missed it. And once again, I forgot why I missed it. Did you see Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin?
I can't watch Barrett, but I will say Madcap is now wearing big boy clothes, so that's a plus. That's a plus. I saw a glimmer of it. Baron Corbin I've never liked from the very beginning, and he is somebody that it's very fascinating that he's never wavered. He's had that same spot for I don't know how many years, and nothing except, I mean, other than when he was poor and doing the whole homeless broke thing, which was the one time fans were getting into him and they couldn't end that quick enough. I've just never seen a guy that the fans are like, please go the fuck away. And he's like the disembodied middle finger of Vince McMahon. I really do think Vince just keeps him there as basically as a fuck you to the fans, because they push him enough, but not really to anything different and new.
It's Corbin is your mid card villain. It's now, honestly, could I see Corbin being pushed to a world champion? Yeah, but he has to change his character, because talent-wise, he got it there. Because he has one of the baddest moves in professional wrestling. I ain't talking about Deep Six. What's the name of it? The End of Days. That shit is beautiful. Just set up in the whole nine. And he's a quick big man, period. But it's like the gimmicks they give him make him more of a joke than what he should be. Because, like I said, but I'm just glad that Moss won, and we might have Corbin now off television because he had his neck completely smashed. And now I want to see what they're going to do with Madcap Moss, where they're going to put him in. Actually, I'd love to see him and Theory have a beef.
But I think I got a little breaking news. I mean, it's a few hours old, but apparently this is off the subject. It just came across my desk, literally. An edict issued by Warner Brothers to remove MJF from AEW promo spots.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's my first time seeing that, and it's like, Again, I don't know if this is a work or if it's, but again, one of the biggest mistakes, and I think and a real telltale sign of the problems of AEW, if they let him leave. Now,
here's the kicker on that. Okay. Off topic for a minute. My thought is this. Hearing that edict, let's just hypothetically speak, because I feel it's a work.
I hope so.
You know what I'm saying? But this is my thought. This ain't Tony Khan saying, this is Warner Brothers. Now, I'm thinking about the pipe bomb that he had. Thinking about what everybody talked about, the merger and everything. Like I said, everything that is, I listen to what everybody say, the news, what have you, and I bring it to a totality, because it's somewhere in the middle is truth.
I mean, he definitely should be pissed and offended that, he has done so much.
But I'm just saying, on the other end, remember what happened with Dusty and the Spike and the Road Warriors?
Yes.
Think about it. These TV execs. It's one thing to be cussing, it's another thing to be saying what you're doing and all that, and we're in a different climate. So when CM Punk did the pipe bomb, think about it, that was on USA. WWE's locked in. They ain't going nowhere. People still have questions whether or not Discovery even going to keep AEW as all said and done, because ain't no new deal been offered yet. And they were in attendance. Now, unless it's a situation like Heels, where they have learned wrestling and they kind of know it's work and he involved them in the work, devil's advocate, what if they ain't like how that went?
Well, I could see why, because they're executives. Executives are not creative people. They're basically pencil pushers. They they're the type of people that like, oh, this is bringing us all kinds of money or whatever. But in their head, they're like, well, this is not highbrow enough or, whatever. It's, again, like producers or, like executives, they're not creative people. They like to act like they're visionaries. But a lot of times it's just they happen to be there when something unique is happening. And then they just do enough to not fuck it up and then take credit for it. I could imagine like a Warner Brothers executive not liking it, but again,
But I'm gonna tell you this though. If this is a work and they put Warner Brothers into this shit, yo, Tony's gonna win Booker of the Century. Because in my heart of hearts, and I could be wrong, I could be dead wrong. Ain't no way MJF is too hot for him to let him go.
Yeah, no, you keep him.
And two, as a boss, if I know it like this, put it this way, Rick didn't tell Bischoff. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
He caught Bischoff off guard with this. And him and Bischoff had to, whatever. But this is I don't think that him and MJF, I don't think that he would have allowed MJF to go out there after everything that went down and knowing how MJF is, to go out there in front of all them execs and to say what he said. And if that actually would happen, then, But, like I said, it's a work because guess what we haven't heard? See, my mama always said it's what they ain't saying. Tony has not said, we want to say, wish you in future endeavors to Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because go ahead.
No, it's brilliant. It's just I worry because I think that he's just like he's the best thing on TV besides Punk and Danielson, and and everything he said in that thing is right. Like I want him, like after getting that all the ridiculous stuff they had him doing with Jericho and everything.
And see, and two, if he gets the belt, they just hypothetically speak, he ends up in that battle royal, and he wins the battle royal. If he ends up in that next battle, if he ends up in that battle royal coming up Wednesday, and he wins, he's going to win the title. And here's the other kicker: he's going to retain against CM Punk.
I mean,
I'm telling you, if he shows up, because I don't see him having a short reign. I don't see him being transition champion Punk. No. Because two things, that he still got the ring. The ring is still protected. You feel where I'm coming from? So I'm just, like I said, I'm just curious. Because like I said, at the end of the day, if it was, let me get some. Wet my whistle.
Wait a minute. Is that your way, like implying that I'm some kind of cracker, that you got like, you got dry cracker mouth or something? Like, I will only stand for that kind of blatant racism for like 10, 20 minutes. And then I'm out of here.
No. See, that's why he's a stand-up comedian. See, that's why I love this dude. Oh my God. But okay, let me get it back. Hold on. Okay. But like I said, I just think, so we can move this on. I just think, now I think it's still a work, but it makes sense. Because that means you really thought, like, wait a second, we need to talk to Warner Brothers for a minute. Because we're going to play this to the hill. We need to play it to the hill. That means you really put some thought into this work. To get Warner Brothers, the company that owns your ass, that pays you, to be like, hey, do this.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope if it is, it's brilliant, and I would say I would give credit to MJF for kind of leading the way because it's consistent, and he's proven on and off camera that he's willing to stay in character and go all in. Um, so I think Tony he's doing his part by giving him the reign to do it, and then maybe, like I said, talking to the executives and letting them know that hey, this is look, it's a work, it's a good work, yada yada yada. But all the creative, God damn it, the dynamic of what's going on all belongs to MJF. And this kid, and here's the thing, what is he, like 26? It's like he's only 20 fucking 6 years old. If he could keep his head on straight and just protect himself, and he would be a great champion, and he should be champion. I see. That's the thing. That's where, like, again, being a booker is a hard job. I don't know if I had to. If MJ won the Battle Royal, won the match, title, and then he wins at Forbidden Door, and Punk's coming back. It's like, okay, well, I would really have to plot and think, because initially you wanted Punk to have a little bit of a run, and then I thought he should lose the belt to, after having a first opponent, then eventually losing the belt to MJF, and then MJF eventually lose the belt to Wardlow, and keep everybody busy with quality feuds while they're waiting for their turn to be champ. I don't know. I mean, it's a win-win in the sense of either having Punk as champion or having MJF as champion. What I would actually like to see, what I think would be cool, but it's a very unique form of booking that only really worked in Memphis and in the Carolinas, where MJF wins the whole thing and then beats Punk at the interim, and then for the next year, that belt goes back and forth between them until eventually one finally wins out, and then that person goes off. Like Wahoo and Flair for a year and a half. Wahoo and Flair for a year and a half traded the Mid-Atlantic title between each other, and it was a hot ticket. It made Flair, and it set the Carolinas on fire. Random title changes can either bury something or it could really add to something. The Briscoes versus Youngblood and Steamboat, that entire year of '83, they just traded the belts back and forth until the final match at Starrcade. There's a way of doing it. I would like to kind of see that. I'd like to see a year-long feud where that belt went back and forth maybe 3 or 4 times between each other, and and maybe intersect different people, but that belt stayed between them and it was an ongoing feud. That would be really interesting. But again, I don't think Tony Khan has that. I don't even know if Regal has the ability to book like that, because again, very specific way of booking to make it not like, okay, great, the fucking belt change again, kind of deal.
No, it's the shit that, look, we gonna, something, we gonna do this on Pro Wrestling Smoke. We gonna discuss down Pro Wrestling Smoke, we gonna yeah, because that's something we can actually discuss on Pro Wrestling Smoke, really get deep on that. So let's get through this damn pay-per-view so we can get to the old school, because we got a good one for you today. Real good. So next up, Judgment Day defeated AJ Styles and Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, which you were talking about with Rhea Ripley's outfit. And of course, Edge got the victory with a spear. Good match. I ain't even gonna front, it was a damn good match. I still say mixed tag matches to me are just awkward because it just kills the pace. I rather you just the woman go against the man and this motherfucker, they just not even involved.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, because it's kind of like when I watch a match where it's a mixed tag and the female actually get hit by the dude or she hits him in some way, shape, form, or fashion, to where it changes it keeps the pace and the flow going. You feel me? It's like when that's the best way I can describe it. I don't feel like she ain't going through all the thought with it. Go ahead.
No, it's yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I know it's all the rage, and I think maybe it makes me sound like I'm not evolved enough, but I don't like intergender matches. I don't think they work. And that's the thing. Like, women's wrestling is different in a good way, and I'd rather see two women, have a match than this weird intergender thing. I think intergender matches are kind of have a theater kid bullshit kind of deal, and I prefer to like keep the women. And that's the other thing. That's what I was saying the other day. You can promote women's wrestling by giving them their own stuff, like having a tournament, and there's a girls tournament and then there's a boys tournament. It's like you're devaluing the whole thing. Like, give them their own thing.
But see, to me, I think the intergender. To me, if you're going to do the intergender, then the female and the male must interact.
Yeah.
To me, it makes sense, because if you want the flow to continue, because even to the point where, like, if you want the flow of the match to continue to be consistent in the whole nine, when the women gets brought in and the way they bring them in, it kind of stunts it. You feel what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm used to, okay, you have a sequence where they got AJ Styles hemmed up over in the corner, they whooping his ass. You ain't gonna tag her and get a couple of shots. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like, it was good when they did like the 3-punch shit where they came and jumped over the top rope onto Edge and Priest, and then she did her thing over the top rope, period, or what have you. Even to the point that when I think it was AJ was about to, was it AJ? No, it wasn't AJ. It was Finn. He was about to come off the top rope or what have you. He should have jumped over her ass or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you don't involve the females within the mix with the males, and it's a way of doing it to where it makes sense and it won't hurt them.
Yes.
Because the reason why I say that is, and when you watch karate, there've been times where a female had to go against a dude in judo or karate or what have you. Period. So especially if it's a contact sport like that. So if you're gonna go to tilt where you have these women, like for example, Mexico. I know motherfuckers talk shit about Mexico, but the girls actually get hit by the dudes and they hit back.
Yeah.
And it makes the match kind of better. I'm not trying to be like a narcissist or a masochist or a sadist or what have you. No, I don't think a man should ever hit a woman. But we talk about professional wrestling. If you go to actually go to tilt and put them in the ring, why not have them be a part of action like that?
I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of intergender, and I have only really seen it done very well one time, and mainly because everybody was basically the same size, and the girl got juice and big juice, and that was the Young Bucks with Dick Boy and Candice LeRae. And she got juice, and there was a whole backstory to build up, and that was the only time that But again, they were all kind of the same size. It just doesn't interest me. I'm big on women's wrestling. I would like for an organization that is easy accessible, where it was like just like even if it was just a 1-hour show, all women wrestling, or a pay-per-view where it was all women wrestling. I would like to see something, like AEW.
I see something that's not like WoW.
Well, I mean, WoW, it doesn't really have, like, I would like to see something that has, get like an actual TV deal where it's easy to. I know there are companies that have just women's wrestling, but one, like, I would like to see AEW or the WWE, take a show and take some TV time and go, all right, this is our third show and it's all women, because then you can really set your roster up to thrive. And because now they have their own show. Plus, they could still be on the other show. They have like sporadic matches, but now they would have the room to spread their wings, and you might even have, oh my goodness, a reason for a tag division. And it's like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the intergender, and I'm also not a big fan of a lot of
a lot of
the. I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of weird, the theater, the theater kid thing that's kind of that's become a thing in wrestling. Has never been my bag. I just never could get into it.
So, well, when they got, I mean, it was, like I said, it was a good match, but it is what it is.
I mean, I like what they're doing with that stable. I like, I think as long as, like I said, as long as they're with Edge, they're going to be protected and they're going to be safe. And it's nice.
So, I mean, what would be next for them now? Because
I don't know. Like, these guys are they're acting like a clique. They're acting like a way a heel group should act. They're like kind of, if you're fucking with one, they're like bees. You fuck with one, they're all coming out. And I would, I would maybe get them in a title picture of some kind. Maybe Edge and Damian in the tag, and like
I was thinking that too.
And like, and again, like, why the fact, like, Ripley is not in the title picture of any women's title is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, we're gonna get to that conversation in a minute for the Wars Women's Championship, but we'll get to that in a second. Next up was Kevin Owens versus Elijah's brother Ezekiel. I was actually shocked. I didn't think Kevin Owens was gonna get the win, and we did get Hardway slightly.
Yeah, I saw that.
Go back and say this match was, it was a match. Ezekiel, he really didn't do much in the match to me. Kevin did what he does, but it's kind of like the feud itself didn't make me really give a damn about this match. And like I said, compared to many other Kevin Owens matches, I didn't like him paired up with Ezekiel. I think it brought Kevin down more so than it made Ezekiel look good. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And again, it's funny. He had his moment with Stone Cold, and then and he's another one. He was more upfront about it. He's like, look, and with him, I remember the interview that always stuck in my head that he gave right before he got signed by the WWE, where he was literally the most sad, despondent, person ever. So I could totally see him wanting to, kind of get that, money for his family and everything. Because, even when he leaves the WWE, he can go somewhere and wrestle part-time and have that last run as Steen. I mean, again, he's being a team player, it's like, all right, you're paying me a small fortune, so I'm going to earn it. And, I'll make this guy that's just doing the stupidest gimmick. I mean, it almost makes, the only gimmick that's even a challenge for the dumbest gimmick is the fucking Asian, narcoleptic, in NXT. So,
like I said, Kevin Owens, talent is wasted in this damn feud. I hope that it's over with. I hope they move on.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you so bent out of shape of this guy who's not even at your level saying anything? Like, why do you care?
It like I said before, it's certain people that should be in title talks, in title hunts, He's one of them. That's just my opinion. So now we're gonna come to. I don't even want to sing Unforgivable for this shit. Bobby Lashley, Omos, and MVP. Do we even want to discuss this?
No, I mean, like I said, I don't know who Bobby Lashley fucked, whose girlfriend he fucked, whose wife he fucked, to get this kind of treatment. But like, dude, you really must have laid it in, like Hardway style to get to deal with this kind of fucking stupidity. It's pretty bad. And again, Bobby Lashley's more of a star than like a worker, so he can't do what maybe like a Bret Hart or Harley Race could do with a guy like this. It's just not.
Now, I need a moment to rant for a moment. I just need a moment to rant, if you don't mind. You might have had the floor.
Yes.
Okay, look. It's bad enough I had to endure this blasphemy of a match in every which way of it. It's bad enough that all three of the participants was black. So that made it even worse. So I had to watch a bad match, and they was brothers. One of them a former heavyweight champion. And then, in the midst of this, a guy who is, I swear, is the most underused, unappreciated, has the most potential, probably, on the roster. Cedric Alexander, Mr. North Carolina. This motherfucker's a beast. Great promo, can talk, can wrestle his ass off. No purpose of why he even jumped in the match. I mean, if he was going to get them back, he could have got them back at the end of the match by attacking MVP while Omos was not looking, then he walked away type situation. No needed for Lashley to help or what have you.
I mean, yeah, it's
hold on.
No, go ahead.
You just gonna throw his ass in the ring. You ain't gonna throw no intercontinental run. You actually that who you should have had Theory go against, to be honest with you. But I digress. See, I don't know if this made Lashley look better. I don't know if I could actually look at Lashley and really look at him as world champion. Yes, the only way I can see him as champion is the way that he went and grabbed the title out the motherfucking crowd. After this heinous, this is against the law. I want to sue WWE for hurting my eyes and my heart for watching this bullshit on my TV.
I mean,
actually, I'll be honest with you. I think the Tony D'Angelo match was better.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't watch it. Go ahead.
No. I mean, that's wow, that's a statement and a half right there. That's.
And CNET said rating 2 stars. Blah. No, I wouldn't even give it 2 stars. I would have gave it probably about -5. It was. I mean, I wish I could have skipped through it. I wish I could unseen this match.
Yeah, it was. It was not.
Look, he don't need to give him the ring. Just saying. He just.
It's. Yeah, no, it's.
It was a waste on all parts because you have this big. Excuse my language. Pretty. Big man. That you can build up to be the dude that might take the belt off of Roman Reigns. He's the most, if you want to be honest, if you think about it, he's the most believable look-wise they could probably pull that shit off for what Roman Reigns got. Meaning that we want to take the belt off Roman Reigns for a little bit before he go against The Rock. Him. He's big, he's strong enough to where Roman, he can't overcome him. Even the Usos can't overcome him, like that of Andre the Giant. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just killed that. You killed it before, but no, actually, You killed it, then you brought it back to life and murdered it again with an axe and poured gasoline on it, and you pissed on it and took a big dump. That's how bad this match was. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's like they couldn't have made a worse decision with using Bobby Lashley, because you did this to him. So now, I mean, it's gonna take, I don't know, forever how long to fix the damage you did.
They've had to make him a Kamala.
I mean, because again, okay, I don't know. So whatever plans they had for Rhodes are on hiatus, and Roman is not going to, is not going to be around a lot. And so there goes the one good thing, like the really good thing you guys had going for you. So, and also, like I said, you buried McIntyre, you buried Bobby, AJ and Balor have been ineffectual for a while. And again, it's this thing of like, if you're not going to create stars, then you need to give these wrestlers the room to breathe to get themselves over. And then whoever does, that's who you have. Like Otis. That's a perfect example of, like, the guy got himself over, the fans were into him, but he didn't fit a mold. So it's like, well, fuck what the fans want. We're going to bury him because he doesn't look like, and it's like, that is such bad business,
No,
overall.
I'm telling you what killed me. They had him win the Money in the Bank?
Yeah, and then lose it in some lame fashion.
It did, and he never cashed it in, got a chance. Yeah. So let's move on from Unforgettable to a great match. The Women's Raw Championship. Bianca Belair retained, defeating, actually getting the pin, I think, on Asuka. And I like the way that the pin went down. She outsmarted Becky. And like I said, there's nothing I can say about that. It was actually a damn good fucking match. But of course, look who's the three women that was in it. So,
yeah, and again, a three-way, it could have been, I don't know, like, again, it's, you're kind of putting limits on them by having them in a three-way.
Yeah. But see, even to the point of they really want to keep Becky in the title. it because she didn't take a pin. So even though she got beat before, so it's kind of like, to me, okay, when is Becky going to be pulled away into another feud? Because it's how many times we're going to see Becky and Bianca? Now, it's a difference if I see Becky and Bianca 3 times this year, but they didn't touch it to them 3 times until they had to. She somehow Becky got back into the title contention. But she had other feuds or other matches or what have you. It's kind of like, how can I put this? How many more times they gonna give it to us? I'm like, damn. I like Becky, don't get it twisted, but I mean, you got a whole Alexa Bliss over there for a damn motherfucking contender.
And also, she's somebody that's not happy right now, and I don't know what they think they're doing with her, but like, she's not happy right now. She was the one also kind of making a stink, and was like, yeah, this sucks, fuck this kind of thing. And they were like, oh, no, wait, we'll we'll give you something, we'll do something with you.
Now, no, like I said, even to the point, see, I know y'all gonna get mad at me every time I say this shit. Across the pond, they do a great job with the women's division. The storylines behind it, the whole nine. They make the women look look like freaking female women wrestlers. Like, just to give an example, it was Lana Austin defeated the previous champ, which was Angel Hayes. I think she's going out from ICW. I think she's gonna be heading to NXT UK. But anyway, because you done had like 2 or 3, 4 matches up there, and she coming down the stairs, and I guess she was getting interviewed or what have you, and the champion, who is part of the She-Wolves, walked up to her and told her, said, "You're not getting a shot at this belt. I'm not going to give you one." She was like, even if she was like, no. Basically, she told her, "You're never going to get a shot at this belt. The only way you're going to get a shot at this belt is you march your way up there to Dallas and beg him for one, because I'm not just going to give it to you." And before she can get out her mouth and say her little tagline, "You're going to know your place," she said, "Oh, all I got to do is just go up there and talk to him." And she left. That simple. Simple. That simple. You laid it so when you say she get a title shot, it makes sense. Oh, she went and talked to him. You can spin the story of, she can be nasty and say, "Well, you must have sucked his dick for a title shot or something," or what have you. It's a storyline that can be built up that makes sense. And it's like, the reason Becky Lynch shouldn't even be in the title discussion, period. At the end of the day, it should be somebody else that she's beefing with, or what have you. You could have set it up to where, okay, you need Lacey Evans to do some fucking work. Lacey Evans would jump her ass after her loss to Bianca, because I think they had beef prior. You know what I'm saying? At one point. So it's so many things that you could have actually done, or you could have had Doudrop jumping. You feel what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
You're putting her. You're trying to keep her in the title hunt, but she don't need to be in the title hunt. Y'all not allowing Bianca Belair to breathe as a champion. Part of that is she has to beat other people. She can't keep beating the same woman every time.
Well, apparently to the WWE, yes, she can. You know, like that's the thing. Like, once they have something, they will beat it to death. Like, again,
like a dead
the reason why the Tommy Dreamer Raven feud was so epic was, for 2 years, the main focus point was that, you know, Tommy could never pin Raven. He beat him a bunch of times and beat his ass like a government mule, but he never got the 1, 2, 3. And they intersected different people, you know, throughout the feud. Like, they involved like the Sandman, the Brian Lee, the Harris brothers, the Moondogs, not the Moondogs, the Bulldogs, and the Dudleys, and then Raven was world champion. You know, so the feud never stopped, but there was, like, they put in ingredients to keep, you know, it fresh. Whereas WWE's like, well, we got Bianca and we got, you know, Becky, so we're just gonna
keep filling it. We're just gonna have a 3-way every pay-per-view.
Well, that's the thing. The WWE is probably the biggest.
Someone else.
The WWE is probably the biggest offender with the you know, 3-way matches and the multi-person matches, and you wonder why they don't have stars. It's like, you know, you can't be a star. And again, you know, even if you do, you know, kind of manage to break out in that situation, it comes down to, like, well, do they want you to be a star? Because it's not even Otis, Zack Ryder, fucking, you know, Dolph Ziggler, you know, like, I could go on and on and on. It's like, for whatever reason, they're just like, no. And it's like, okay, well, then why did you have him win? Or, you know, like, it's like, why would you want to make any effort in the industry? Because, you know, you're not going to get rewarded for putting in your best effort. You know, like, why try? You know, like that's kind of what happened with me with stand up. It's like, well, why am I going to try if it really just comes down to whether or not I gel with the cool kids and, you know, kind of, you know, and play nice and suck up. And that's the thing. It's like, I am not a good suck up, and it's hard for me to befriend somebody just for getting something out of them. It's really hard for me to be like, I'm going to be your friend because you could do something for me. And that's the way I'm going to be. You know, it's like, I've never really been able to do it.
Well. So we are done with that pay-per-view. Overall, everyone do star ratings. I don't want to do star ratings. It's all right. It's not the greatest pay-per-view, but it wasn't the worst. It's somewhere in the middle. But it was. And a lot of it. It was forgettable. That what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's like I said, to me, it's WWE. That's all it is. It's who they are. It's just how they run their shit. So, and of course, like I told people, if you want to hear us discuss what went down, how our feelings on AEW and what happened with CM Punk, as well as what is going to happen with the world title and who we think is going to win the belt and the whole nine, we're not going to tell you that shit here. No, you got to go to the Premium Smoke Room and go check out Premium Smoke. You feel me? $4.99 a month. You're talking about 5 premium podcasts, plus also 2 limited series premium podcasts. So you have a lot to listen to and enjoy for $4.99 a month. So go over there right now and subscribe only on Anchor and Spotify. Now, you know what time it is. I got to figure out some way to get some theme music for this old school.
Oh, you know what? Remind me next show. My friend's band, the Dictator Tots, finally are back on iTunes, and I was able to listen to them again. And they have a great song called Figure 4 Love. And I was going to reach out to one of my friends, because I'm friends with everybody in the band, but I was going to reach out and see if we could use like 20 seconds of the intro to the Figure 4 Love, you know. And I'll play the song on the next Premium Smoke. I'll play the song for you, and we'll and I'll ask you. See, like I said, like roughly like 20 seconds. We don't need the whole song. See, they'll let us, use that.
I hope he did. I hope he does. I don't think they'll mind. But now, with that being said, ain't that a great way to intro the ode to the old school? So, as usual, we talked about old school shit, old school topic, whether it's territories, whether it's a wrestler, we spotlight a wrestler, or what have you. It's all about the old school. Because me and this man, we grew up in the territory, and you young bucks don't understand the beauty and the beautifulness of professional wrestling back in the territory days. So with that being said, where's the topic for Ode to the Old School today?
Well, it's ironically, I was watching, Adam Page, and essentially it's the art of turning heel, which is honestly just gone. It's, like they have people switch back and forth so often, on top of they just, or people like in betweeners, where they're trying to be little mini Stone Colds, and it's become a real lost art, like the slow build, and then the betrayal, and then like becoming all, because like a good heel turn would take a guy who is mid card or part of a tag team, and next thing you know, he's a main eventer and he's off and running, and it's a lost art because it had a reason, and it's slowly, and if you go back and like you're able to do now and really watch it, like sometimes they would start months out, like when Sean did the big turn on Marty.
It's funny you said that because that was my first thought. Because I was going to ask you what you thought was the best heel turn of all time, and my first thought was that one.
Well, the one that sticks really out for me, because being so young and basically just believing what I was told, was Paul Orndorff turning on Hulk Hogan. Even my mom, I remember, was like beside herself because I was watching it, so she was watching it, and she was not a wrestling fan at all. And just when he kind of jumped on Hogan and did the pile driver and everything, my mom was beside herself, like, what the hell? And then I was like visibly upset. And that, and again, it was they did the build, like he was a heel, they did a babyface turn, and they waited a while. And then, and actually, that was, I think, one of Hogan's more profitable runs, like him and the Big Boss Man, were like some of his most, it was so, they were making so much money and so hot that was the beginning of Orndorff's neck problems, which eventually led to the pinched nerve, to the issue with his arm. He didn't want to take time off because you're in this pro. And back then, if you're wrestling Hogan, you're wrestling Hogan for like 6 months. And I remember, I think I heard on a podcast where like the Big Boss Man, Bubba, Bubba was for 1 week made $12,000. And that was only like 1 week of a like months and months long feud. So yeah, and Jericho was somebody that was very clean cut and proper, and they did the slow build where he kept losing and getting frustrated, throwing temper tantrums, and he would come back and apologize and do that and the other thing, and then eventually he just absolutely snapped. And again, that's when like Jericho kind of, he was like, oh, this guy's not only great, but this guy's gonna be a main eventer. It had a magic to it.
Now I'm gonna ask you this. Now, which was more impactful? All right, the Arn Anderson type heel turn, the Owen Anderson, or the Hogan NWO heel turn?
Oh, it'd have to be the Hogan, because nobody, I don't think, really was.
Not exactly that one before you answer. Not exactly that one, but that type. That's what I mean.
Well, the thing with Ole was it had to go on for like 18 months or 2 years, because Ole was just so despised. And not only that, but just his demeanor. Like Ole was just literally, because
he never, but from the description was he pretended to be a good guy. He was never a face.
Yeah.
So could we say that was a heel turn, or was it?
Well, no.
Or was it a face turn more than it? Because does it count? I'm gonna ask you this: does it count? Which is more, because he was a heel at first. That's what we knew him as. Then he became a face. Then he became back a heel. You feel me? So does that have the same? Does that have the same impact as one who has never been a heel, never been a heel turns heel?
Well, I think the Hogan. I think the former, because, or the latter, because like I said, it took so long because the fans really never took to Ole, because again, just his demeanor and this resting bitch face and everything else. So he was
a pretty dude.
And then with Hogan, it was a shock, and honestly, it was a breath of fresh air to somebody that was like long stale. I'm trying to think of another big. Well, you can't, like, Jerry Lawler literally did the heel babyface turn so many times. Same thing with Dundee.
I got one before you go to Lawler. Barry Windham.
Yeah, Barry Windham joined the Four Horsemen. That was a big That was a big deal because he was a huge fan favorite, and had he not got sideways with Dusty and some other people, he was probably on the fast track to becoming heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other, because there's certain wrestlers like Luger. When Luger was a fan favorite, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, but but
he won't no surprise when he
just
turned heel.
knew,
There won't no shock though.
yeah, it was not a shock. I'm trying to think.
One for you.
Um,
Freebirds Monarchs.
oh yes, that was actually, yes, and that actually, it basically revitalized a territory and killed it because it nothing could ever match it, and it was on Christmas, and it was like it was a part of, it was like a third party plot
match. Yeah.
And then but here's the other thing too, you got to wonder about that feud. Had David not died, because on that famous card where Kerry won the belt, they had like basically they had that 6-man tag where that was like the end of the Freebird feud. And then they went to, I believe, AWA after, where they had like a run with the Road Warriors. But they, I think they would have went for a solid 2 years had David not died, or it probably would have kept going, because again, they did the thing where you had 3 guys against 3 brothers, and you can intermingle different problems. And then you had Jimmy Garvin, you had Chris Adams, you had Iceman Parsons,
Brian Adidas.
You had other guys that kind of also throw into the mix to kind of move it around a little bit. And they, even when the feud with Adams and his partner, Gino Hernandez, when they had that tag feud with the Von Erichs, that was hot, but it was nothing like the Von Erich.
That was a good heel turn. That was actually a good heel turn too. See, it's funny how we just name off the great heel turns of back in the day. Just
DiBiase against the Junkyard Dog, DiBiase had to be, had to hide in a trunk of a car to get out of the stadium.
See, people don't realize what makes for a great heel turn.
A growing issue, usually not getting what you feel is your credit or just reward, being overlooked, getting tired of being outshined, or some kind of misunderstanding. Mr. Wrestling 2 on Magnum TA. If you go back and watch old Mid-South, it's clear that he's being a heel when they're being, a tag team. And that took a while until eventually, against the Midnight Express, of all people,
piece of shit.
He walked off. He walked off and left Magnum to himself to get whipped. And then of course, Mr. 2 won the North American title, and then eventually, did the honors for Magnum, to kind of complete their feud. And Mr. Wrestling 2 was, this is a guy that was so popular that he was actually invited to Jimmy Carter's inauguration because his mom was a huge wrestling fan, and he couldn't go because the Secret Service wouldn't let him wear his mask. That's how serious wrestlers took their gimmick in their career. He had a chance to go to the inauguration, and he was like, I can't wear my mask. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, that's serious. And damn, I had another one on the tip of my tongue. Heel turn. Oh, no. Dutch Mantel. Dutch Mantel, his heel turns with Jerry was... the way he played it was it's because of who Jerry was. He's an asshole. He got an ego. You feel what I'm coming from? It's it's kind of me and you was friends, but then you changed, bro. So I can't fuck with you. So it was kind of he had the heel turns that the fans understood, but at the same token, they were gonna go with Jerry anyway. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, yeah, because I kind of like those heel turns where it actually makes sense. It ain't just, it's some jealousy there. It's some animosity there. or what have you, because they're doing that right now on NXT UK um with Mustache Mountain, where they just lost the tag titles, and Trent Seven's upset because Trent Seven wants to cheat to win, and the young boy, he don't want, Bateman don't want him to cheat. Bateman don't want him to cheat. Because they lost the match because they were fighting over the title. He was trying to hit him with the belt. He was going to grab the belt, and then he got rolled up for 1, 2, 3.
And they've been I hate the name of the tag team, but they've been a tag team for a very long time, and they've held all kinds of belts. And actually, I was looking at them one day, and I'm like, I haven't seen them wrestle in a while, but I'm like, they're going to have them eventually split up and do a feud because they've just been together so long. Damn it, it was on the tip of, I just had one, and it was Wahoo, as it was, written in his book. He'd been in the Carolinas for like 10 years and was a top babyface and a maker of future champions, and then eventually, had a heel run because he felt like he was being overlooked, or people were treating him like he was over the hill. And he had that feud with Magnum.
Yeah, I remember seeing the videos with when he was teaming with Telly Blanchard. He was teaming with Telly Blanchard going against Rick. There's one few times when Rick was an actual babyface.
Yeah, and Ricky Morton did the heel thing for a while, but he was never that good at it.
We have to be able to believe that you can be a bad guy, and part of being a bad guy is that you just like New Age wise. I saw him the other day, had a stupid interaction with a Twitter troll over it, period. And okay, I gotta do a warning alert. I'm about to talk about a wrestler who's accused of, actual statutory rape, technically. But in the country that he was in, it was not technically statutory rape. Do I agree with someone fucking with a 60-year-old? Fuck, no, not in any which way. But I do like him as a wrestler. It was nice to see that he was still wrestling. And then some stupid ass fucking troll want to try to say some stupid ass shit, and I had to speak upon it and block his dumb ass. Now, I'm talking about Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll, to me, epitomized a heel. He looks it. He looked like a Bond villain. Anyway, a cool Bond villain.
Well, that was his gimmick. He was the villain.
Yeah. And he played it to the T. You know what I'm saying? He was a complete heel, like MJF, Because a lot of people don't give him credit for him because he never, even when he was a good guy and people liked him, he still was him. He still was a heel. Stone Cold, even though yes, he was always a heel, he just was cool. Period. Rick was always a heel. Period. So in order for us to believe the heel turn, we had to believe that you can be a heel. And unfortunately, Ricky Morton, I can't believe you as a bad guy.
Yeah, Ricky Steamboat wanted to try being a heel, and basically everybody was like, no one's going to accept it. It's not gonna get the right type of heat. It's not gonna, and it is weird because back in the day, you found guys that were ambidextrous in that they could do heel babyface, but they usually were better at one. And it's ironic that the guys that are really nice and down to earth make the best heels, and the ones that make the best baby faces are usually just really shitbag assholes. And certain wrestlers like again, Sasha Banks, it was meant to be a heel because her version of a baby face, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, your smile is going to give me diabetes. Can you please scowl at me? I'm trying to think of another famous.
It like put it this way, just like with, like, for example, Bayley. They had to work hard to make Bayley a heel.
Oh, you know what? That actually, now again, there's a talent. There's somebody who's ambidextrous because she got
Damn.
miles and
Oh
miles.
Lord,
She
because
got,
she's so beloved.
but she got miles and miles and miles out of that gimmick and evolved it over time and did it in such a perfect way. And then when she pushed it to the point of like it is not going to go any further, she became a heel, with the same way that she did the Bayley gimmick. It was like Bayley's a heel, and then really slowly started to lean into it and doing stuff on social media, and it was like, oh my god, I didn't know I needed this in my life, and I want Bayley to be evil, and then she could come back and be a heel when from her injury, which by the way, one of the most talented women wrestlers, she's kind of fallen out of the conversation because she hasn't been on TV, got hurt at the height of her powers as a heel because some schmuck in the WWE was like, you got to go down to Florida and run the ropes and get ready for, shake out the ring rust. Fucking Bayley. And then she got injured and she's been gone for 9 months, almost a year now.
Still
But this is somebody that, again, brilliant. And she can always transition back to a baby face. And that Bayley gimmick, there's somebody, I think she wrestles for the NWA, that does the worst latest dollar store version of Bayley. Right. And there's a reason why you're wrestling in the NWA. That gimmick is so weird and unique that it takes a special talent to make it work. And this other girl, I can't remember her. That's the thing. I can't remember her name. It's like, God, it's like dollar store Bayley. And, and she is somebody that did the heel turn and became indispensable as a heel. And I remember, she was a hero to little girls. When I saw that match, my girlfriend at the time, we were sitting up in, the stands, and they had this amazing 5-star match. And I'm not joking. It was a father, their 2 kids, and a mother. And the 2 kids, one was literally wearing a Sasha Banks outfit, and the other one was wearing a Bayley outfit. And they're watching this match, and these kids were watching it. They were in it. And of course, Sasha lost. So the one in the Sasha costume started crying. And it was the cutest thing ever because the mom's trying to comfort her. And of course, the Bayley sister, being like Bayley, was giving her a hug and comforting her and everything. And it was the most adorable thing watching them watch the match. And that a lot of girls went there dressed like Bayley. She had that dusty power over fans and then became a heel and did a fucking brilliant job of it. Exceptional. And
now I'm gonna ask you this. When Rollins did his heel turn on the Shield, was you surprised it was Rollins? Because I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be Dean that was gonna turn heel.
I only saw, that's when I kind of started getting back into watching wrestling as it was happening, and I really did come in at the tail end of the Shield. So I didn't get the full effect of the Shield
because to me the way that Ambrose was moving felt more heelish than what Rollins was, because Rollins was the most animated one out the bunch. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to give him props. He did a great heel turn.
Oh, he's much better as a heel. He's another one that can't be, and he's the nicest guy. I've seen interviews. He's the nicest fucking guy. Can't be a heel or can't be a babyface. He needs to be a snotty, smarmy heel. And again, it's oh, you got to be a babyface. It's really, you're killing this fucking guy. But he's such a good wrestler. People tolerate the fan favorite phase, but no, it was a good heel turn. And a lot of people felt, because again, I'm not an expert on the Shield, but a lot of people felt it was still too soon. There was a lot of miles to go, but that's the WWE. They are the kings and queens of impatience. You have 3 guys that are young and healthy. They're not going anywhere. You have this great gimmick, and you could ride it out a little longer. Nope, we got to make Roman this, and we got to do this, and we got to hurry it up, and that was the opinion of people. Like, I have to go back and really, go through the history of what the Shield was. But I just remember they were so big and so popular that even though I wasn't watching the current product, they were like bleeding into my periphery about like how huge they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because now I'm gonna tell you who I felt had it was a good heel turn, but it still was, if you want to be honest, somewhat weak because you kind of saw it was coming anyway. Was when MJF turned on Cody.
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, why not put up a display in Macy's window? You know what a famous one was, and it was very brief, and this will harken to you. And I believe it happened also in a Ric Flair match. Bullet Bob Armstrong turned heel for a hot minute in Continental. Yeah, I think he was the special guest referee in a Ric Flair match against Robert Fuller, and kind of turned on Robert, and then he did a little bit of a heel turn for a while. I don't think it lasted.
I got to get into my Robert Fuller bag. I watched a little bit of Continental, just a little bit. I really didn't get into it. It's just funny seeing him with them ugly ass shades and shit. but it gets down though. They had some good shit there. But like I said, I mean, it seemed like to me it's like the old school understood how to turn a face heel, and the new school is kind of like they don't make the fans feel the energy of the turn. They just turn them. You get what I'm saying?
I think part of it was back then it was a house show driven business, and the TV was basically like one long hour infomercial to promote the product. For people like who grew up really poor with a parent that just didn't like me, that was like everything. I never got to go to any of these live events ever. But they drew it out. And again, it was storytelling. It was a drama. And they made you care, and then it broke your heart. And that's how you got the heat so quick, because you broke people's hearts and you disappointed them. And again, it's not about how high you could jump off something. And it's not about how you could do all these super choreographed athletic things. It's the storytelling, and it's the role you're playing and how you're relating to the fans and why you're doing something. Like, there is no, when you look at Dusty Rhodes as is a fat guy with a so-so face and a lisp, and this dude was just, I mean, electric, and just, he went through a couple different types of phases, but just connected with fans on a level that, I mean, if he was still alive and wanted to go wrestle, like, people would pay to see him and Ric Flair have this like one last match, both in their 70s, because they would just want to see Dusty come out and beat Dusty. And it was the charisma and the ability to tell a story that, when you think about it, no one ever really made fun of Dusty for being fat. They made fun of him for being a son of a plumber and this and the other thing. He just had this aura. And that was the thing. That's why we keep beating to death, is everybody, like, and again, you're so creative and this is your art. Well, guess what? I don't give a fuck if you took Jim Barry when you were a kid. If you're this artistic and it's your art, tell me a story. Like, make me interested. Like, again, Andrade, good looking guy, could do all kinds of athletic shit. I could, if he retired tomorrow, I honestly couldn't tell. If I took over AEW tomorrow, and I would have a meeting with all the important people, and I would go through the roster one by one, and I go, okay, Andrade, why? Give me a reason not to basically fire this guy today. Like, nothing, we're not doing anything with him,
I'm gonna give you something fun. Fuck Andrade. I'm gonna give you something fun. We're gonna do a fancy booking session here. All right. Which promotion do you want to pick from? It has to be a wrestler, and it has to be a good guy.
Trying to think
Right.
here. Let me think. I'm trying to think of a good guy. Hold on a second. Oh, jeez. Why do I always go blank in moments like this? Damn it. Fuck me running. Because that's the thing. Everybody kind of flip flops around. I'm trying to think of a good baby.
Okay, now. I'll give you one. I'll give you one. Jungle Boy. I want you to book him turning heel. How would you do it?
I would kind of do what they're doing now in that, they're the tag champs, and whenever they're in one of these multi-person tag things where the belts are not on the line, or when he's having a single match, he gets pinned and he's slowly getting angry, and then eventually, like in the multi-person matches, he kind of grumbles, or says things in interviews and passing, like, well, you didn't save me in time, or had you connected with that thing, he wouldn't have been able to recover so quickly and scoop me up. And then, kind of do that for a while he was going in there like a
bitchy.
Yeah, like becoming a house of fire, like making the hot tag, becoming a house of fire, but then always somehow getting knocked off the apron or whatever, and have Luchasaurus make the save and retain the belt until eventually when they lose. And I would have Jungle Boy take the fall to lose the belt, and I would have it done in a way where instead of going with the traditional, you missed your cue and you bumped into me or something, more innocuous in that, Jungle Boy just got caught and Luchasaurus wasn't there to catch him. So that way, when he basically throws a temper tantrum and really starts losing his shit on Jungle Boy, and basically I would probably do the thing where instead of having it happen at that moment, have him kind of come out, do the apology, and then maybe another week or two goes by and they're having a couple of matches and everything seems like, okay, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then have him turn on Luchasaurus, either leaving him to get his ass handed to him in a dire situation, or attacking him from behind, and then leaving him to suffer, and essentially then turning, basically a chicken shit heel, because, having being like an arrogant, smarmy, he's a good looking kid with a great head of hair. I would have him go on and on and on about how Luchasaurus was holding him back and he was holding that team and he was throwing off. That's why he was taking these pinfalls, because he was carrying this big lummox and everything.
Now I'm gonna ask you this: would you have him change his look slightly?
I would change his ring gear. I would have him go Jack Perry. I would have it slowly go Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and then eventually fade out Jungle Boy for some, because the name Jack Perry it literally sings. It sings when you say it. So you would like Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. I would have maybe eventually Jungle Boy fade out and then a new nickname kind of come in, and I would make him a little bit of a smarmy kind of chicken shit heel, and I would have him definitely get into a feud.
Even leading to the fact of his dad legacy, because his dad was an actor.
Well, I would have him
Hollywood, all that shit.
And like talk about how he's Hollywood royalty and he carried this guy, and just real, basically, this kind of like, woe is me, what about me, kind of self-involved promo, and again have him win a feud against Luchasaurus, like a brief feud where he gets over on Luchasaurus, but by cheating, and then I would have him.
Now, when he turned on Luchasaurus, here's the question: with the turn, because do you have the turn? Because when you were saying he might have walked out on the match or what have you, do you have the turn to where? Because with me, I think would be more impactful if that went down was if he attacks Luchasaurus and he bloodies him.
And he what?
Tears his mask up and everything.
Oh yeah. Actually that's I would maybe depending on because that's Luchasaurus. That's his whole song and dance. I don't know. The guy's just not good, so I don't know what like. Honestly, if I was a booker, I don't know what I would do with him after he. To be honest with you, I personally probably would future endeavor his ass, or be like, look, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a mask versus hair match, and you're gonna the Luchasaurus is no more, and then you're gonna take 6 months off with pay, and then you're gonna come back with a new gimmick. I want you to train. I want you to, let your wounds heal, like let your, whatever, and then we're gonna repackage you, and hopefully.
See how good book we do. We even book the loser of the day.
But that's the thing. Well, again, here's my thing. I would say, hey, you're fired. I'm gonna give you a nice payday for doing the job, but
I do what you do. Take him off because he's a good looking fella. So, but fuck him. Fuck him. Let's get back to the booking.
Well, with Jungle Boy, then I would have him enter in a feud where he basically goes for like the TNT TV title, and I'd make him my TV champion for a while, and kind of really work those old TV rules about like you got to beat me in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. Like if you beat me at 17, you don't win the title. And I would just have him be a chicken shit, smarmy, arrogant heel, and just really. Kind of like in a Daniel Bryan kind of way, just, like, oh, you like this high flying stuff, so I'm going to become more of a technical wrestler. Like, I'm going to do everything I can because you guys don't appreciate me. You guys don't, you guys don't deserve me. And, it would be a slow build. I wouldn't immediately push him into the world title picture. I would make him an upper mid card villain for a while and really let him find his feet and groove as a heel.
Well, I'm going to do for mine real quick, because we're all about to happen and shoot, I gotta get ready for another podcast. Mine will be I'll do Adam Page because I always wanted to book one of his. I think it'd be cool. We do little segments like this every now and then. So with Adam Page, I always felt he was a better heel anyway, in my opinion. It's nice that he was a baby face, but he's just a pretty face heel. So we take it from, let's just say Forbidden Door, he has a match. I don't think you're going to have let's just hypothetically speaking, this hypothetical booking, he gets an opportunity to go against Okada. He gives Okada a hellified match. It's great. And Okada beats him. So, the next Dynamite, he's in the back. He starts drinking again. He looking depressed. Of course, John Silver comes out there and comes over there and try to cheer him up, where have you. And he like, whatever. He pushes John Silver away. So you start seeing this similar to what you was getting before, but it's a little bit different. He's a little bit more angry. You see, when John Moxley, let's say, walking around with the title, what have you, he bumped into John Moxley in the back and he looks at the belt and he's like, and he just don't say nothing to Mox. And you just see the look in his face. He sips his whiskey. Feel me? He's not getting drunk. He's not drunk. Let's make this clear. All right. So, of course, you still got now you're gonna love this booking because part of this is actually has to be deals with the George Goulas gang. All right. So John Silver. John Silver, always the one that's pepping him up. So one day, John Silver comes to him and says, hey, guess what? Alex said he step away. Me and you can go for the tag titles. All right? Or if you want to go there, let's say Ring of Honor tag titles, FTR. Let's put FTR in there. You feel me?
Yeah.
Great match. FTR win, but guess who takes the pin? John Silver. So the cowboy over there, he looking distraught because he like, what the fuck? Also, you notice he went back to his black short tights. He looked like more like the Hangman. He comes out like the Hangman. Let's make that clear. He looks at John Silver, and Silver like, yo, man, you know, it is what it is. He just looks back at him, and he gives him a boot from out of nowhere. And he just started pounding him. And then he goes get a chair, right? The crowd, I'm pretty sure by this time, because the crowd loved John Silver, they're booing the fuck out this dude. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel it.
He takes the chair, and he gives him a chair shot. John does the duties. He cuts himself. He's busted. The champ just keep beating him. I mean, he just keep beating the shit out of him. No buckshot lariat, no nothing. You feel me? Then he goes underneath the ring and he gets the hangman noose and puts it around his neck and throws him over the ropes and hangs him. Finally, the Dark Order comes out or what have you to try to stop him, what have you. He runs out and gives everybody the middle finger. And walking to the back, in the back, someone chasing him down like, what is all that about? And that's when he gives the most fiery promo you ever heard about how he's tired of holding dead weight. Because he was the nice guy, because he was the cowboy shit. The fans didn't give a fuck about that. When CM Punk brought his ass in, he even go as far as said, you know something, Maxwell had a motherfucking point. I agree with him. And he looks at the camera. He grabbed the cameraman real aggressively, put the camera in his face. No more cowboy shit. Moving forward, or same thing they say, he was like, anyone again, I'm going to become champ again. He's going to say something about him becoming champ again, but he said he's going to do it his way, and he can come up with some type of bullshit that he can say, but he's going to do it his way, and he don't give a fuck about what the fans think. He don't give a fuck about what Tony Khan think. He don't give a fuck about what anyone think. It's all about Paige. And there's your heel turn.
No, that's good. It's better than what they've been giving them to work with.
Yeah, because now you bring him back to that, even to the point that the blow off is him and John Silver, and he beats John Silver, and not only beats him, it's a like no disqualification match, and he pushed John Silver out for a minute. And you have him throughout the weeks leading up to that John Silver match, he runs through the whole crew, taking them out. As a heel, it's kind of like he's putting them on the shelf. So now he's building himself up as that dude that put people out of action. And that's when you bring him against like maybe Bryan Danielson. Or because then now he's menacing, now he's a threat, kind of like what they did with the Hall of Pain.
You know, I mean, again, it's what you would book for him is, you know, way better than what he's been giving. Cornette kind of made a very interesting point that I kind of had to go back and maybe watch some of his stuff in that, like, okay, like Punk is a star and just knows what to do, whereas he knows like where Paige is kind of there, like, oh, he's competent, but he's not the star you thought he'd be. And honestly, to be a little fairer to Paige, they really have just given him absolute shit, and they just every week. Because I remember you resisting the Rhinestone Cowboy thing when I started making fun of him, and then every week it would slow. Like your heel turn was,
No, it got me with the horns on the
motherfucker.
thing, not on a truck, not even on a long Texas Cadillac or Lincoln. No, a rental car.
But just the outfit, it's like, I don't know, it was just so bad.
The only reason why I didn't shit on it was because I was like, all right, y'all trying to give him that cowboy gimmick. But I think he was straight just the way he was, is the Hangman. It was kind of like y'all didn't want him to be the Hangman because he was the Hangman in Ring of Honor. Funny how y'all bought Ring of Honor. But I digress. His gimmick worked. That Hangman worked. That's why I felt that he was going to be champ based off of that Hangman gimmick.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. His name, Adam Page, and his look, like, it was fine on its own. You really did not need to. I mean, again, and also, if you're going to have him do the cowboy gimmick, there's different ways of doing it. Like this weird fucking, like, if he would have walked on the Fire Island on the 4th of July in some of the ring gear he wore the last couple of months, he would have been ripped to shreds before even taking one foot off the boat. Be like, oh, honey, oh, girl, what the hell? Like, you know, easy, John, you know, like, I mean, it was just.
It was crazy. But see, that's why I said for him, the new coat of paint with him have to be a heel. So
yeah,
they have
and again,
make that heel turn stick.
It's not even just being a heel; it's being like a legitimate vicious heel, not the pouty faced, whatever.
And that he was.
And also,
go back and look at Hangman Page Ring of Honor.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like he needs to go back. Like he kind of just, you know, like I don't know. Like I feel like he's lost a step being AEW. I think maybe he's
the Young Bucks. He got with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and the rest was history. Because even when he was in Ring of Honor, his gimmick was perfect. Because that's why I kept saying he reminds me of a young Stan Hansen.
Well, yeah.
And you gotta understand, people, if you go back and look at young Stan Hansen, God. Shit.
Yeah, Stan was a legend and knew how to work the gimmick. And that's the thing about a cowboy gimmick. Like, it really doesn't take much. And you know, even Stan, who I forget where he was born. I don't know if it was Texas, but just a hat and like the vest, and sometimes like he would wear the chaps, but that was about it. And then the cowbell, like again with the gear and everything else. Even if you're trying to do like a new millennium cowboy, it's like, yeah, no, I don't know. I've met a few cowboys in passing in my day. I know even the gay ones. Like it was that
would not wear that shit.
That mountain is already broke. Like you cannot.
I want to tell you what it gave me. It gave me the Rock vibes in Get Shorty, or was it?
Yeah.
What it gave when he was slapping his ass.
Yeah, and you know it
with the red boots.
Yeah, and it just like so they need to take all the gear away. You need to like again have him go on a bloody rampage and blame everybody and be vicious, lose the pouty face, and then if you're ever gonna put the belt back on him, leave him because leave him the fuck alone. And again, I would like to know where backstage people's ideas started and ended, and where Adam's ideas began and ended, because I want to know who to blame for this. Because one, Page didn't pull any of this off, and the great matches he had were because of the people he was wrestling. He kind of lost charisma after getting the belt, and
I'm not gonna say the great matches he had. He's a great wrestler. He's good.
He is,
but it's just the gimmick killed. People don't realize the gimmick can fuck up. You can make people overlook your wrestling.
I'm sorry, but again, nobody. I know of no wrestler that could pull off the ring gear that all of a sudden had, or the clothes that he came out in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. Your gimmick. Sometimes the gimmick oversees the wrestlers
because it didn't fit. And the best part about it was, it's like, dude, and again, you could kind of get away with it back in the day, where, you know, because people couldn't research as easily as they can now. It's like, dude, you were a school teacher from Virginia. You're not a cow. And actually, you know what? I actually, you know, a talent that I know just moved to West Virginia, and we've had this conversation before. And she's very successful, and she did it kind of her way on her own. So she could be sometimes difficult to talk to because she feels like she's right about everything. And she tried to lecture me about what the South is. She actually tried to say Texas and Florida are part of the South, and they are not.
No.
And then she moved to the South recently, and I said, and she moved, I don't want to, you know, she's very private. So it's like, she moved to one of the states beginning in the South. And I was like, well, she's like, oh, well, you know, it's blank. It's barely the South. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the fucking South. If you say the state, it makes you think the Revolutionary War. It makes you think the rebel flag. It makes you think everything Southern. You're in the South. And it drove me, I didn't even engage, because I'm like, you know what? I honestly, in my opinion, thought it was a huge mistake for her to move to the South, given where she was coming from. I'm like, you are literally going for my cousin Vinny fish out of water situation. You'd be better off in Florida, or like moving to Vegas, or, you know, or maybe even Texas to, you know, but Florida, I would have suggested, not the South, by the way. But I was like, what do you mean? You moved to the most southern fucking state. The only other state more southern that draws up the image of the South is Mississippi. And even people in the South don't want to go to fucking Mississippi. The one thing an Alabama, Georgia, and a Carolina person can agree on is, where you want to go for our holiday weekend? Not Mississippi. Okay. So I was like, and it just bothered me so much that I was like, I don't want to have this argument with you again. And it drives me nuts when people who've never been to the South, don't know anything about the South, try to lecture on what the South is. Like, people in Texas, Florida, and Oklahoma talk about being a good Southern boy, a good Southern woman, or whatever. It's a turn of phrase, and frankly, they're talking out of their ass. They're not Southern. They're an Oklahoman. They're a Texan. They're a Floridian. You're not the South. So, you know, and we don't want them, because the South is not perfect. We have our own shit to deal with. And let me tell you, as bad as the South can be sometimes, Texas and Florida are on super extra crazy, and we don't need that aggravation. But the point that I was going to make in my roundabout way was, dude, you're from fucking Virginia. Literally, Virginia. You're not a cowboy in any sense of the word. Like, you would have a vague argument if you were from Oklahoma or Wyoming.
You would know where a cowboy.
Yeah, and leaning into it that hard, it was so absurd. But you could be a Southern dirty white boy, kick-ass hangman,
country boy, country boys wear boots.
Country, like you said, that gimmick he had before he became hangman. Like, you can be the
country jack.
Yeah, you could be that big ham bone, knock you the fuck out. Because I'll tell you what, Texan cowboys are tough, but you give me a raw bone, good old farmer Southern boy. Like, I'm talking like Southern boy, where he thinks going to like Athens or Birmingham is like the big city. I will put money on him against the cowboy, because you got a 50-50 chance. Because as tough as a cowboy is, man, we're talking about raw bone, Southern boy. Be a Southern boy. And it would have been, and here's the other thing, it's two different cultures. That's the other thing. With the South, every state is a little bit different. Like Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, we are a part of the Southern culture, but we are all different, but it still connects. Texas is fucking Texas. Just like Florida is Florida. Like, they are not part of the Southern culture. They are just Florida, good or bad, Florida. Texas is its own thing. So you're trying to incorporate something that people believe in very much. It's a very distinct
And
look.
just because Texas moved to the SEC does not make them Southeastern.
And here's the other thing.
South.
I have never a desire to go to Texas. I'm sorry. I have my comments that I would love to go into on Texas. But being a Cowboy means something. Being a Texan means something. It does actually.
We just letting y'all know that we do. Go ahead.
No, it means something. It stands for something.
Yeah.
So for you to sit there and lean that in and miss the mark that bad, that is not good. Ridiculous. You should have just been a big, raw boned country boy, which you are. And it was just bad. And I can stand not to see Adam Page for a couple of months.
Yeah, so, and guess what, people? We at the end, because we done went 3 hours. I told Prince Evan, I said, yeah, I got to rest up, because we go 3 hours on this wrestling, because there's a lot to talk about. Yes. So, people, you gonna watch Raw? Well, no, I doubt you watch Raw tonight. I'm gonna watch it for a little bit.
I was kind of messing around. I was trying, again, I'm not a computer. I was trying to mail pictures to myself so I could put them on my phone and kind of maneuver them a little bit better. And that apparently is something I did something wrong, and my computer's moving slow. But I have to make dinner. I have that phone call I have to make, and however long that takes. And then I still have shit around the house. And then tomorrow, more computer stuff. The day is not over for me. Yes. I'm not gonna have a chance to watch, probably, or at least really pay attention to Eddie TV tonight.
Yeah. So, people, another great episode of Pilgrim on Wrestling, which was episode 19. So we will be doing 20 next week.
Oh,
damn! 19 episodes, people. 19 episodes. Yeah, we get into the numbers, buddy. We getting into the numbers. We might do something special if we ever get to 50. Well, actually, we might do something special if we get to 25.
We should do it like a 4-day fucking event, and then WWE style, making it over bloated, like fucking jerk off fest unto ourselves.
We're going to do something spectacular, I'm telling you. So with that being said, people, life is a learning experience. What's the point of the experience? You didn't learn anything. Smoke this over. Sign off, Billy.
Until next time, when it's Vader time, we'll see you then.
Out.
Hey, it's Princess Havoc, your favorite BBW adult star and host of Causing Havoc, along with the fabulous Bobby Lucas, where we talk about anything and everything. Come follow the dopamine with us Sundays at noon, now with video. Part of the Premium Smoke Room family and streaming exclusively on Anchor and Spotify. Run, don't walk to subscribe now. For only $4.99 a month, you get my show and 4 other great shows as well. See you there. Mwah.